Greetings and salutations, League of Legends fans. Here I am again with the next level with Sodaron. I am the aforementioned Sodaron, the wizard of LOL esports, here to bring you the next episode of, well, this show where we are going to break down the LCK Summer 2024 match 75 between Gen G and KT Rolster. So here we go. Now, I already had technical problems. I ran 40 minutes into the stream and then realized my webcam died. I think it was because I was messing with StarCraft and I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't get out of the game to go back to my desktop, and then I unplugged my mouse, and then I think I unplugged my webcam as well, and it messed up my stream. So here I am again. I messed it up. We're going for take number 2. So, but yesterday, my last VOD, match number, is it 76 between T1 and Nongshim, or is it Nongshim and T1? Most of you don't care about that stuff. But I showed you StarCraft, and I played a little bit of StarCraft. I'm really bad at it, but I was just showing you how I've been playing these type of Fog of War mini-map games for 25 years. So when I came into League of Legends, it was, yeah, it's Nongshim versus T1. When I came into League of Legends, it was easy for me. I already knew to play off the mini-map. So I played Warcraft 2 for multiple years. Picked it up in junior high school, and then around, I think it was my junior year, Warcraft 3 came out, and started with the beta, and played Warcraft 3 for a long time, like 15 years. I don't have the new version on my PC. I don't really feel like paying $30 for Warcraft 3 Reforged. I'm kind of upset because I paid $60 for the battle chest for Warcraft 3 and the expansion years ago, and don't really feel like paying another $60 for the same game. And that's some of the problems, like older folks like us that's been video gaming for a long time. We don't really like reboots where you go and we got to buy the game again. So it's kind of unhappy with that. Let me check something here real quick. Maybe I can do this without my game crashing this time. I'm still here. I just don't like my information being given out. I'm still here. I don't really like my information being given out, but I'll just show you what I'm talking about again. Hopefully my game doesn't crash this time. And for some reason this wants to put my volume down as well. I don't know what it is. It's when I mess with StarCraft, it messes with this volume. So here we are. I just want to show you how, like, you know, League of Legends is like this game. You're playing off the mini-map. So I've been doing this for years. Single player. It might be loud for you. Sound. Minimum. Single player. Okay. Play custom. Ladder. So the bases are in the corners. Okay. Oh, I don't know how to play Zerg. Sodaron, Protoss, closed. Okay. So, I mean, League of Legends is like this. Needed a little bit of practice. Let's see. The probe is 50 gold. So I want to scout the map, and this is what I'm talking about. League of Legends is like this. We're playing on a dark map, Fog of War, and I gotta get enemy vision. Same thing in League of Legends.
You've not enough minerals.
I haven't played this for a really long time, and I wasn't big on StarCraft. I liked Warcraft better. Or I mean Warcraft 2. I also played Warcraft 1, but it wasn't really as enjoyable. Is it P for pylon? Gotta get down to this corner. See, I don't know the map that well. I'm running into all this terrain. Now, Warcraft 2 didn't have the terrain like this.
You've not enough minerals. You've not enough minerals.
But basically, I'm trying to get enemy vision on this mini map here to plan out what I'm gonna do.
You've not enough minerals.
And that's all I'm really showing you in this game. I don't have... Here we go again. The game doesn't want to load out. There we go. End mission, exit program, exit. That's all I wanted to show. Earlier, it wouldn't exit out, and then I ended up alt-tabbing out, ending task, and I think it messed up OBS. Yeah, we're here. We're fine now. Okay. Now as long as... Okay, that's where it should be. There we go. That's all I wanted to show. I just want to show you that I've been playing this type of game for 25 years. It's not difficult to me. I can't show Warcraft 2 because I don't have it. It's $10. There's an emulated version I've been playing for years. I'm not really comfortable streaming that. One other thing I wanted to go over. I did a little review of this earlier update, and I showed this.
You can finally snag the performance pack.
But I wanted to show that this coach Nofe here, what happened is they took a team of retired League of Legends professionals, brought them out of retirement, brought the coach out of retirement, and they have a show match. And so they've been preparing and playing LCK challenger teams, and they keep getting stomped. So there's like Prey and Rich and Score and Kuro and Wraith from Jin Air on this team. And so this guy here is the coach, and he's a highly respected coach. I respect him. He coached one of Rookie's teams. He coached the Rocks Tigers, and he's telling them what I preach here on my stream over and over again. He's talking about the vision and how you make plays around the vision. Like I say, you got to know the cooldown timers. You got to know the summoner spell timers. And I just want to point this out, that if a top coach is showing you what I'm trying to show you here in the West, NA players, LEC players, that maybe I know what I'm talking about. He's showing that the enemy team, their team is the blue team. He's showing that this red ward here, that they've got vision in this area, so you're not safe. Like, you have to assume the enemy's there or they're going to make plays. So like Kuro, for example, if he doesn't have Renata or Vi near him, he's not safe at all. Now in this situation, he's got Vi and he's got Renata Glask here and Callista, so they should be able to collapse if he gets caught out by one of these red team members. And so I went over this and went over some things and spent like 40 minutes before I went into the draft. And realized the stream messed up, my webcam messed up, my microphone messed up, so I had to restart all over again. That's what it takes to get to the next level, guys. You can't give up. Just think, if this is a 3-hour VOD, I've already spent 5 or 6, 8 hours prepping for it, watching the matches. I spent almost an hour doing it and had to start all over again. So he's talking about how you make plays around the vision. and he's working on their communication.
이 정도 얘기를 하면 이제 너네가 자연스럽게 바텀이 신경을 써서 조심해야 되나? 얘네 상대 정글 위치가 안 보이는데 설계할 수 있다고 땅굴에 있을 수
So they could make a play. He might be in the lane rush. You have to assume, unless you see all 5 enemies on the map, which you rarely do unless they're stuck in the lane, but you never see like the jungler around, so you have to assume that like the jungler or whoever you don't see on the mini map in the lanes is in the dark area. That's why I showed you StarCraft. Yesterday I went over again. I really need to get Warcraft 3 on here so I can explain. But Warcraft 3, let's look at Moon. One of my favorite players was Sky. Sky versus Moon. And notice how this looks like League of Legends, guys. Notice how they could only see on their mini-map where their bases are and the rest of it's dark. Same principles apply. Now Moon's on DRX and Sky's on World Elite, which you've heard both of these teams in League of Legends. World Elite was around way before League of Legends. So I've known about World Elite for years before League of Legends. So again, if I've played these games for this long, 25 years, and I've watched League of Legends since the end of Season 2, I would religiously, like every game, every region, multiple times, not getting interrupted, notes, worked with GAM in 2022 during the summer split, and then they went to Worlds and they won one game against in the group of death against top esports. They were against Rogue, that was the top LEC team. They were against DRX that won Worlds. So to get a one win out of that was pretty ridiculous, because they didn't have the staff like DRX had, or they didn't have the staff like top esports. They were much less people involved. Or like Riot got top esports to New York City a week before GAM showed up, or T1. So think how they had much less time to prepare. I was putting crazy hours into this. My family thinks I'm nuts, but I'm hoping that I can get a job out of this. So I keep going. But notice, same principles. They're trying to get vision. Now they have a hero or a champion that's just like in League of Legends. Now Sky is sending out this peasant to scout through this dark. He's going to try to find Moon over here. Same thing going on. Vision. Notice how he has vision now on his mini-map. Right here. It's like he's got a roaming ward. You make plays around the vision. The best Warcraft 2 player taught me back when I started Warcraft 2. He could 1 versus 3 people. He was so good. Number one thing is you scout the enemy out. You don't just make plays for random sake. Like the Art of War. You're making plays for a certain reason, and you're trying to stay ahead of the enemy. You're trying to gain information on the enemy and stay steps ahead. So think of this game, if you're playing, you eventually get 3 champions or heroes and multiple units you're controlling. You have to harvest wood, you have to harvest gold. There's a lot more involved in this game, and League of Legends is just like basically a clone of Dota, which was a mod of this game where people were so bad at playing the actual ladder of this that they made Dota, and it caught on. It actually killed off Warcraft 3. I wasn't really happy about it for a long time, but then I did really like League of Legends and the pro teams. So here Moon is sending out a scout, like basically like his jungler or his support, to get vision on Sky. He doesn't know what he's going to do or where he is. You have to adapt.
In the top 10 ELO rankings, Moon is always
So I played this for years. I guess I need to get it on my PC so I can fire it up and show people. But it's $30 I got to spend, and I already spent $60 on the original version of it, so like I'm kind of against that. Let me make sure one last time. I think it's like automatically changing my volume or something, and I don't understand that. But it's like the longer I get in my stream, I talk lower and lower and lower, like I'm talking lower now. I don't understand why that shouldn't be going down. There we go. So I always have mic issues for some reason. I don't understand why. Like I really think that's why people get XLR mics. But we're just working through these problems. You guys should say that you're in enemy vision. People ward that spot a lot. So here we go. No face talking about the ward. They usually ward there. Next time, try to clear this ward. But at that point, you need a sweeper lens or a control ward. But this is the key. Every play is made based on vision. You guys should expect that. And that's why, like, I'm showing you this. That's why in the slides, every play is based on vision. That's why I just went into StarCraft again. That's why I went into Warcraft 3, so I can show you. So now we can get into the actual breakdown of this game. The opponent could be looking to make plays when you're being spotted. Other than that, it was alright. So there's one of the best coaches in the game saying you make plays around vision. And I preach on that over and over again. If you want to reach the next level in League of Legends, just follow me on Twitch. I have a YouTube channel. I'm trying to show you the basic principles that like an esports coach would teach you. Tiger Woods, for example, one of the best golfers of all time. Jack Nicklaus, one of the best golfers of all time. They always had a coach. Always. Now, you would sit there and think, he's the best player in the world. Why would he need a coach? Because you can't see yourself like in a mirror. You can't see yourself or fix yourself. You need other eyes watching you to help fix you and improve you. You're only, like, if you're a solo queue player, you're only working on your mechanics, getting your mechanics better. You can't fix all this stuff all at once. So that's that. Today's notes are up here. Now we should be over the technical problems. Minus this. There we go. Okay. So into the draft. I've got the notes already put up. So I try to show you and teach you. It's important to pay attention to the draft. A lot of people overlook it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is priority of what, like, they don't want to play into. So number one priority that Gen G don't want to play into is Pius X Ivern. Number two priority they don't want to play into is Barrels Leona. Number three priority they don't want to play into is Barrels Callista, or it's a flex for Deft and Barrel Callista. Rumble is permanently banned on the top side. They don't want to play against Keen having Rumble. With Rumble and Ignite and the Void Grubs, it's you can't win the matchup, basically. Then Nidalee, which is Canyon, probably, he's got a Nidalee skin, so he may be considered the best Nidalee in the world. There might be better out there. And then they don't want to play into Zyra.
So that's a good boon. I guess so, but I'm really worried that we're going to have another one of these moments where Deft is like, I'll pick Misfortune, and then he just gets one-shot by Aurora all game. And I don't think Chovy's going to get Flame Horizon like Bulldog did in that series and was still able to hard carry. All right. Yeah,
So Lilia, and I made a page already looking at this stuff, let the casters talk.
And Chovy, what is he going to
The
be
matchups.
walking in here?
And I was listening to an interview last night of Wadid, that was a support for G2. Really good interview that Thorin did. Good job, Thorin and Wadid. But Wadid was talking about something that I forget to talk about on my show, and I'm aware of it, but you know, you can't get perfect matchups in professional play or in a game of League of Legends. It's like a give and a take, right? So Gnar, for example, Genji draft Aurora top for Keen into Gnar. Gnar wins against Aurora 33% of the time. So Perfect on KT is going to struggle with Gnar, or struggle with Aurora. So this is going to make Pyosek have to come top a lot to help Gnar. Or Canyon's going to struggle with Lilia against Maokai. Lilia wins against Maokai 25% of the time. So Canyon might struggle getting the objectives in this game compared to what Maokai can do. Or Draven wins against Corki 40% of the time. So Chovy might struggle into BDD's Corki. Canyon might have to show up mid lane a lot. He won't have to worry about top lane. He may not have to worry about the Void Grubs. I do think, though, you have to worry about the Void Grubs because that just kind of really helps get your top lane going. You can win a bad matchup with the Void Grubs. So, like, if Gnar has the Void Grubs, it'll help him be able to stay even into Aurora with the CSing. So then there's Zeri into Zyra. Well, Zeri's really good into Zaya, so Pays is going to have a difficult time in bottom, so Canyon's going to have to come bottom a lot. Or Rakan wins against Lulu 66% of the time, so Barrow might have a tough time playing into the Rakan. So it's kind of like a balanced bottom lane, that there's the support matchup for Gen G is good, but their bottom lane AD matchup is bad. So you have to look at the game that way. You can't counter every lane. It's a give and take, and then you have to basically mechanically make up for the difference. So it's just a shame that I had a good 40 minutes. I went more in depth with some things than what I did, but it doesn't really matter. I can't make a 5-hour video, so I did go a little bit more in depth with some stuff, but here we go. I'm trying to get maybe this done in 2 hours on these matches.
Is going to come through here in response, try to weather the storm in that Aurora lane. Yeah,
and I apologize for this, but I don't have a second monitor, so I have to monitor that every once in a while. Sometimes I forget. I did it on my stream yesterday and went like 3-hour VOD, then finished it, and then I looked at my mic and was like, oh, well, it was turned down halfway after loading StarCraft, so I apologize. I did a good VOD yesterday, so you may have to turn the sound up a little bit. It's like 30 minutes in after I exit out of StarCraft. So Senna on Ornn is like an 80% win rate. You get 30-40 minutes in the game. The longer it scales, the easier it is to win. So if you play it into Senna and Ornn, you have to close the game out in 20 or 30 minutes. Her range gets really ridiculous. Now she's, I think, going to get nerfed on the next patch, so we may not see Senna for a while after on patch 14.16. So Ashe is like a Ezreal counter, or saw last night that Viper was doing a lot of work with Ashe, so she's, I think, becoming one of the top AD picks. And you got to be careful because Barrel can also play Ashe very well. He's got an Ashe skin as a support. So Misfortune ban.
Yeah, they're challenging him to play the Ezreal, it looks like, in this draft, and
I'm guessing maybe the Xayah is
if that is flex bottom.
not good into
So I think,
Misfortune.
yeah, I like grabbing Rel here instead. You don't
Like
necessarily
maybe
need
Gen
support
G
counter
planned to
because
take
it doesn't mean, like,
Xayah
Harvey 100%
Rakan
just
in this
launches the
situation,
Alistair.
so they
He's
already
gonna
planned
parry
this.
Harry instead.
And we could look at the stats. Most of you probably don't care, but Xayah. Xayah wins against, so it's like, you know, she wins against Misfortune 48% of the time, so it's like Gen G, I guess we're prepping to take Xayah Rakan.
Interesting one. It's going to be locked away. We've seen a fair bit of Zeri Corki, especially paired alongside the Maokai. Pretty stable draft.
So
It's not a
then
very stable team,
KT's
so
worried
still
about
expect
Pays getting
shenanigans in this
Jhin.
game, but KT can certainly take this one a little bit more slow and steady. I dislike this champion.
Good bit of AD carry bans in this.
I'm not going to doubt Pays on it, especially with the amount of ways you can set up the.
I
the
don't
fallback
think
and the
Xayah
feathers
is
with the
particularly
Aurora
strong right
ultimate, and
now.
it makes a ton of
Guma
sense.
didn't seem to do very well with
Rakan is also
Xayah.
available, so you have that really strong duo in the
So
bottom lane.
maybe Gen G's
Quite
trying some new
scary.
things.
I
Maybe
feel like
Xayah's
Xayah
getting a
is on
buff
the
soon.
track in a lot of different comps as an anti-dive pick. In this case, it's not really about her
I don't
skill,
really
just
hold
why
too
she's
much
being picked up.
value
It's
in
about,
who
like,
wins or
damage
loses this
output and
match.
utility. In a
It
team
was
fight, this should be low
pretty
range based on Aurora
credible
ultimate.
that somebody
Lulu
went
is here.
is not going to be
It's something there's a
undefeated.
ton of value on outside of just
So a
turning
huge
Death into a
upset.
hyper carry in team fights. Can be used on the Gnar, can help protect a Maokai that perhaps gets caught out of
So
position.
maybe
Otherwise-
Lulu's good into Xayah. No. Xayah wins, or yeah. Lulu's good against Xayah, so that's why, which makes sense because you can keep poking her. You got shielding against her feathers, rooting you. A lot of people say Barrel's bad. I think he's good. I think some of the problem with KT, and I made a tweet about it the other day, but besides perfect, they're rich on KT, so they don't really care how well they perform in the regular season. I think that if they can get to playoffs, that they did the same thing with DRX, where I watched all of it, came out of the group stage and got better and better and better. I think they're like trying to prevent burnout a bit, so they don't care as long their goal is just to get into playoffs and troll, maybe play your worst. It doesn't seem to really do. It doesn't really seem in sports that if you go undefeated to be good for a team. Like besides the Miami Dolphins back in the 70s, the Patriots were undefeated and made all this hype, and then they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's true. I do like Rakan just alongside an Aurora if Keen is actually able to get into team fights relatively early on. I think creating a battlefield, a Thunderdome.
So into the game.
The gentleman with the
This is, I got this far and went 40 minutes into the stream and then realized my webcam crashed, so here we are about the same time. So probably a more condensed version, but it's just I doing these streams and VODs, it's just like I can't get one done in 2 hours like I want. I always run into technical problems every single time. It's always something. And I think some of that's I don't have a second monitor. I don't have like a XLR microphone. I don't have a high-end PC. I'm running on an HP like AMD Ryzen 5300 or 50. Like it works. It's pretty decent. 16 gigs of RAM, but it's I'm gonna have to get an upgrade at some time. So anyways, this we're further in than what I wanted. I was gonna say I saw
to see whether their nightmares are fan chants.
I was talking about this when I had to end the stream earlier. Gen G usually don't take a sweeper early. Like so Barrow took a sweeper right out of the gate. But the problem with this is if you don't know where the ward is that you're sweeping out, you're going to be down an extra trinket ward in your laning phase the first 3 minutes. So and I see a lot of the players miss where the ward is. So, but in this game, you know, would have thought maybe Barrow would come up here, put a ward up here for Gnar. I think that Aurora is going to get, they're going to try to dive Aurora. Of course, I don't know if you can dive Aurora because she's got some type of invis and some type of dash or jump ability. And so this is what I call man-to-man. Except, as you see, KT doesn't have vision of where Lehens is. I think, no, they didn't have a ward down here. So, like in this position here, they don't see where Pays is either. So, KT doesn't know where the bottom lane is. Like, they could be lane swapping at this point. So. And what that means is they have to assume, like I was talking about in the video earlier we looked at with No Faye, they have to assume they got to be kind of safe because they got to assume, well, the Genji bottom lane can be anywhere where it's dark on the map, up on the enemies, up on the KT side of the jungle, or up top as a lane swap, or they could be hiding up here in this brush and come out and 1 versus 3 gank Gnar at the beginning of the game, so they have to assume this.
And here we are onto the rift to see whether their nightmares are true or whether once again the coin will rule them all.
You know, Atlas, this is going to sound really
So,
stupid, but
Will rule their nightmares are true or whether once again the coin will rule them all.
Lehens gets an early ward here. The KT bottom lane is going to be down on this. And I like to put the timings on here so you know what time, because the timing is important. Because you can go by that in the game. You start seeing the timings of things, you'll get brainwashed where you soak all this information in. So if you're a support out there on blue side, this is a good thing to do, what you're watching Lehens do.
this is going to sound really stupid, but
Okay.
this KT Rolster roster reminds me so much of DRX 2022 in summer. And I know that's
I mean, of
because
course,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it should be like an
has a lot of
upgraded
big players on
version,
it, but their play style, their lack of
people would say,
consistency-
because people would say BDD is better than Zeka. I don't really agree, and I don't know if Perfect's better than Kingen.
They're barely making it into playoffs.
Very
potentially,
similar.
but that's not even guaranteed for them. The way
I think
in
that's
which
to
they
prevent
kind of
burnout,
figured out Sol
and
over,
then
like, the
you
last
grind really hard when the boot camping
few weeks
starts.
really reminds you of what DRX looked like right before they made that.
So Pyosek gets, is that Pyosek ward or is that Corky's
Year, but
ward?
that's not even guaranteed for them.
That's Corky's ward.
They're,
So again, this is
there's a
work
lot of
that you
big
have to
players
do
on
with
it, but their play
teams
style, their lack of consistency.
that I'm doing.
They're barely making it into playoffs potentially here, but that's not even guaranteed for them.
Okay. I'm just wanting to circle this ward that Corky puts down. And I know players get upset if like this overlay is showing or not, but I guess kids out there, you'll have to deal with it. Quirky puts ward in KT top jungle. This allows him to play safe on his right side, but he also has, I guess that makes sense, that'll help Pyosek out, and Corky has the Q, which gives vision in the brushes, so he has extra vision.
The way in which they kind of got figured out, solved, I feel like in the last few weeks, really reminds you of what DRX looked like right before they made that incredible run to Worlds, and then of course then winning.
Don't know why
Worlds, one of the
Zeri
craziest things that's
Deft is
ever happened in League
going up.
Legends.
Okay, so Deft puts a ward.
Worlds, and then of course then winning Worlds, which was one of the craziest things that's ever happened in League of Legends esports history. And I mentioned it because you mentioned the fans being so desperate. It always feels like, is this the summer of KT?
So
Is this
Deft
the
places a
summer of KT?
ward.
And, you know, once again, we're left wanting. You of what DRX looked like right before they made that incredible run.
It's annoying how many times I gotta
Worlds,
click
and
because
then,
of
course,
Epic
then
Pen.
Winning Worlds, which was one of the craziest things that's ever happened in League of Legends esports history. And I mentioned it because you mentioned.
And
the fans
I
being
really
so
need to
desperate.
blow
It
the
feels like,
mini
is this
map
the
up, but I needed to take and blow this mini map up for you, but a lot of you don't care. So, Deft places ward. KT bottom jungle entrance. They're afraid they're gonna get dove and invaded by Canyon, which Canyon plays aggressive and steals a lot of the enemy jungle, so that makes sense. So they've got they're worried about Canyon coming in here and invading their jungle, taking farm from Pyosek is what's going on. Okay, so that mystery is solved. It's like trying to solve a mystery. Again, I don't worry that much about the stuff after like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It's just figuring out the early vision.
Is this the summer of KT? And, you know, once again,
So these wards will prevent.
wanting as
And I'm more of like a jungle stream, I guess, if you want my solo queue or support. See, Keen gets a ward.
An early engage here to take control of the lane. Things could become a problem. The W empowerment that you do engage here to take.
I think maybe he should have got a deeper ward,
Lehens pays if they can get an early engage here.
but Keen puts a ward here, allowing him to play aggressive. Allows Keen to overextend. Or some will say pressure lane, which pressure lane means push the wave onto the enemy side of the map. So Keen is set up to play aggressive.
Here to take control of the lane. Things could become a problem.
Be nice to see where Chovy put his ward. Again, I'm mostly watching the mini map when I watch stuff, which I know a lot of you players don't watch. So that's why at the beginning of the stream I went and showed you StarCraft, like you're playing off the mini map. Warcraft 3, I'm playing off the mini map. League of Legends, I'm playing off the mini map. And You got to get to a level mechanically. That's why the players, like Korean players, grind solo queue so much, so they get good enough where you're not looking at what you're playing blind. You're not looking at what your champion's doing in front of you or in the lane. You're looking elsewhere on the map, trying to gain information, what your top laner's doing, what your jungler's doing, where the enemy jungle is, what lane's being pressured.
As Lehen's just biding his time, waiting for his moment.
Yeah, if Deft and Beryl can weather the storm with this Lulu pick into this lane, it's going to be pretty huge. They didn't opt into the Cassante, into the Aurora top, which means that that's not a lane that...
And so I think I used to talk about this too, and like a couple years ago, there's Chovy finally gets his ward.
That necessarily ends up being disastrously.
What's annoying is having to click so much to get this pen. Stop it. This allows Chovy to play aggressive. He should be safe on his right side. So he can pressure the lane, and then he'll know if he's going to get ganked on his right side. So he can always safely run to the right side, and then like Canyon can show up or Lehens can show up and help him.
Going disastrously, that is to say, I'm not 100% well-versed on the Gnar versus Aurora matchup, but I do feel like it will favor Aurora early. Mid lane is, don't look at that if you're a KT fan. That's just going to be one of the strongest counters into Corki that we have in the meta, that Chovy is the best.
I don't know, because the solo queue stats say that Corki... Draven, like 5 games, it's only 5 games, but Corki is good in the Draven, at least in the solo queue. So I don't know. Unless it's like a hidden pick. On the patch before, it says Draven had 100%, so I guess I better put that on my notes. So that's from the patch before.
Stat. Yep, BDD is going to be having a rough time. But this bottom lane, really good.
So I was going to say, teams normally dive around level, or around like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or at least that's what I was told by the coach in VCS.
Junglers that seem to be his worst enemy. We'll see where Canyon's going to be. Right now, he is moving towards top side as the Aurora top debut is
Perfect. I guess couldn't get a deeper ward
mid lane against KT
in this position.
KT, the lucky team to be able to see how well Aurora's going to do on the top side of the map.
Yeah. Most players saying that Aurora was...
So the first round of wards have went out already. Again, it was to prevent Canyon from going into Pius 6 jungle.
Around this first pick.
KT heavily invested. This may harm their laners in this game, though. So Zeri's doing really well into the Xayah.
Right now, Deft and Beryl doing a great job putting on a lot of pressure here onto this bottom side. And a lot of CS is going by the wayside here for FaZe, unfortunately.
This ward here to help prevent a dive. I guess I should put that in there. This is just to prevent some type of dive, early dive from Maokai, which it looks like he's pathing down to dive. was supposed to be up here. What is the timing? 3:27? I think it's around like 4 minutes that they'll dive. I know I have the notes saved somewhere, like word for word, what the VCS teams do. Like they're always going to dive at like 5 minutes. Or after the first jungle clear. So Canyon's getting the Scuttle Crab. The top side, and Piosec's getting the Scuttle Crab bottom side. We see Piosec throw a sapling down in one of the brushes as well. So the junglers, I guess, are going to back, or at least Piosec's going to back to get his first round of items. Now,
he doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't have a lot of economy. He's trying to manage these waves as best.
This ward is to help Chovy stay where he is in the lane. Canyon's ward at 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Right here, the Raptor Pit area allows Chovy to push this lane and pressure like he is. He's overextended. And gather information on Piosec as well. So they see Piosec isn't there.
Best as he can. Canyon's also in the vicinity here, but won't make an impact.
Piosec is going top to help Gnar. Again, like I said, beginning of the matchup, that Aurora is good into Gnar, so Piosec will have to come top a lot to help Gnar. He's going to struggle. He's like almost double, Keen's almost double CS over Gnar. Cool.
He's going to have that back stopped though, as we have once again a look towards his bottom side wave. Kind of.
I think I missed 2 wards that were going on as well. I'm trying to figure out who got this ward. Wasn't paying attention while I was talking. I'm guessing. Okay, so Piosec. I missed one too. Piosec puts a ward down here. Like the same type of counter ward, basically. Like Canyon did. Okay. It's trying to solve this mystery in the first 5 or 10 minutes. Then we'll get into action if you're bored right now. So Mayokai's on his Kindle gem now. Aurora went back and got her Dark Seal.
Control of this wave. No vision here over to the Lilia. They have a ward at least on the Raptors, so we'll see him there.
BDD's struggling.
Chovy's dominance in lane.
Chovy right now, he's going to have to recall. Got the dragon up in 30 seconds. So maybe Canyon's coming bottom here to help prevent this dive. They're worried about Hayes and Lahin's getting dove. I think the teams worry too much about getting dove. But I know the LPL teams are all about diving. And the VCS, like, they don't care about the dragons. They don't care about the Void Grumps. They want to dive under your own turret and just dominate you.
avoided there because
And so that's like what a coach was telling me on
on
GAM.
Alleviate some pressure here on the bottom side of the map so Pays and Lahens can start getting things sorted. Beryl throwing some things towards Pays. First fire not quite
Corky's or
depth, though.
Draven's teleport's going to be down. Corky's teleport will be down.
Bit of a step up
We're,
here in the lane.
you know, Dragon's up, so that's what we're wanting.
I think the thing about BDD
You want to get to the next level. If you're a jungler, you got to get the dragon at 5 minutes.
Quite significantly is his skirmishing in the early game, but without any
I'm not big
trials,
on
it's hard
diving,
for him to
but
impact
I know the
the lanes. He's gonna
LPL
try
teams,
to, off of Chovy's back
the
here,
LCK teams,
control
not
the
so
dragon
much.
pile,
They care
and
more
then you
about the
have
objectives.
Hextech Soul, or rather, Hextech
As you
Break
see
the side,
Zeri
have
and
full control over it at the
Lulu go
moment.
to
That
this
is
dragon.
Going over to KT. Canyon on top side will likely try to trade for grubs.
BDD actually trading pretty well into Chovy here, but missing that phosphorus bomb puts a lot of
So
control
KT
back
get their
into the
first
hands
dragon.
of Chovy. Drake does go down though. Certainly fantastic news as Chovy and BDD
Gen
trading once
G's
again.
ahead
Will
in the
connect
gold
down to
lead here.
200 as BDD wins out on that one quite handily.
Oh my god, the top lane though.
52 CS to 39 CS, 52 CS to 27 CS. So Canyon's going to get the Void Grubs and probably the Scuttle Crab, so Maokai is going to have to come top a lot more now that Gen G have the Scuttle, or the Void Grubs. It's really going to make this lane matchup a nightmare for Gnar.
It's not really perfect, having a very good time up here. It does show as Deft is able to dash
But
away from Lahens.
they allowed KT to get the dragon, so it will put Gen G behind 5 minutes.
And that's going to help him at least.
And Zaya is struggling, 47 CS, and Def's Zeri, 65 CS.
We'll have to come back to lane here as quickly as he can.
He's going home, and that's going to help him at least absorb a Blade Caller.
Keen
Pays going home.
Now this may not be the thing to do right here. Like, this is kind of greedy of, like, when you're playing against Worlds teams. Because Canyon has, I play like this in solo queue. But when you're playing against Worlds teams, like Corky, you may have to assume that Corky's over here because they should be able to see, I mean, they may not see Lulu, so like you may have to assume that Lulu's here as well. Like we were talking about this, the no-fay video before this. So I play like that as well. But there's certain reasons and why, or
Yeah,
many
he doesn't have to be
variables.
either. We'll have to come back to lane here as quickly as he can without boots. Perfect Gnar down now, and Canyon has his
It's like
ultimate.
Gnar's roaming to get some type of deep
but-
ward. You would, again, we were looking at this earlier in the VOD from Back to the Scene, but you want to get a ward down in here if you can.
Pioshik is very far away and doesn't have 6.
He gets
Perfect
this, he
scanning.
didn't have a
There's
ward,
potential
so
angle.
had to use.
He has no flash.
Yeah, Kenny moving in.
I guess he had a control ward on him, so. See. I didn't look at his inventory.
very
Yeah,
far
he
away,
had a
doesn't have
control
6.
ward. So.
Perfect scanning here. There's a
So that's a great spot if you're a red side or you're a jungler playing on the red side. Good place to ward. Not a lazy ward.
Potential angle.
And look, he even got some healing. It was worth his time.
Perhaps.
He has no
Canyon.
flash.
Yeah, Kenny moving in.
Oh, but I didn't pay attention that his flash was down. I haven't even been paying attention to the top lane. So he could have easily been punished. And now's the time to punish.
See whether they can take advantage of this mini. Now, it does have hop. But yeah, I don't know about this one. As Canyon's just going to be moving in, looking for Pyoshik. And she will discover him. There we go. Pyoshik able to at least...
I mean, Canyon has been on the top of the Korean ladder for years now. He's ranked 5. So you could say he's the best jungler in the world. So that's why he aggressively went up and does this. I play like this as well.
Hold on to the big one, I'm pretty sure, as Twisted Advance pulls him over. BDD rotating up as Chovy is behind
see,
him.
he's getting punished.
Presses W, able to get so many autos down.
It's
This vision
not...
is brilliant.
On a bad day, KT wouldn't have done anything about this, but this is KT having to play and punishing mistakes.
Presses W, able to get so many autos down. This vision is brilliant as there's the Nature's Grasp. And Canyon gonna put them to sleep, the flash forward, but...
So maybe I should title the slide.
Pulls him over. There we go. Looking for Pyoshik. And she will discover him. There we go. Pyoshik able to at least hold on to the big one, I'm pretty sure, as Twisted Advance pulls him over. There we go. In, looking for Pyoshik.
We'll title this slide, Canyon Gets Punished for This Play.
And she will discover him. There we go. Pyoshik able to at least hold on to the big one, I'm pretty sure, as Twisted Advance pulls him over. BDD rotating up as Chovy is behind him. Presses
Notice how Chovy had a ward in one of the brushes there as he was going into the enemy side of the jungle.
Gonna put them to sleep, the flash forward, but perfect. I think should be able to cut this one off. If he can pick up this kill, it would be gigantic. With the rest of Gen G, they're coming over, and it's the big one that's able to take him down. BDD taking first blood.
So Canyon got punished.
From Canyon on the play. If Perfect makes a mistake, if he's very much going to step way too far forward there, you can set up a sleep, you can absolutely get that gank off.
And I'm probably about done with the vision slides on this game. I want to overwhelm you guys.
He's going to have the fast track over on the Corki, or BDD rather, is going to have the fast track over on the Corki. Chovy did not have ult at the start of that exchange either. This ends up being a huge win.
I don't want to spend all night doing this, but this is an important match in the world of LOL esports, so the LCK. If Gen G won this, like, KT may not go to playoffs.
This is precisely why I said at the beginning of the day.
So this is when the Dragon's up in 2 minutes and Void Grub in 1 minute and 52 seconds. KT really can't afford to give more Void Grubs to Aurora.
Outside of the top lane, which is still colossally in favor of Keen, although it has been shored up somewhat by Perfect to get things back. Let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, so Draven doesn't have ult. Obviously,
So they may have to give up the Dragon, is what I'm saying, for the Void Grubs. Well, the top teams usually can, like, get both objectives when they're up, or make some type of dive or play bottom. That's another reason you make the dive, because you're trying to prevent taking the objective like the Void Grub.
Perfect as well, putting in some extra autos. Keen and Chovy close to being able to get something done there, but ultimately are unable to do so.
Yep, doesn't quite work out. As Extendo Beam going to be blocked there by Lehens. And Static
So
Shield now
Canyon's
completed
getting
for
his
Deft
blue
as well.
buff, it looks
It's a
like.
completed item versus just a BF sword and a longsword
Where
here.
he needs to be
Four
planning
pays
for the
to
dragon
one
or the
Alpha
void
KT towards his
grubs.
bottom side that they were already leveraging.
Tells me he'll probably stay up
Even though
top
they
to get the
didn't quite
void
have
grubs.
this level of item advantage.
Maybe dive the Gnar and come back to void grubs.
There is a,
So Perfect knows to recall here. He knows he's gonna get dove. So his flash is down.
mini wave that's just disintegrated. So Mark Knopfler not
Notice how Gnar started recalling at the right time. He knew he was gonna get dove.
Not going to be sleepy right now. Does just want to go home. Dot was being annoying for a little bit.
Yeah, I just got his
So
teleport on
Canyon's
Beach
just
Pool,
waiting, I
no
think, for the
problem.
void grubs
But,
to
a
come
little
up.
bit annoying for that.
Pysek's coming down to help dive.
And here's
Hayes
the
and
double down
Lehens
attack
then, I
going on
guess,
through.
take the
For
dragon.
a bit of a dive as Pyosik just moving on in. Taking the easy route, and there
I'd
is
rather
Hayes'
just take the
drive.
dragon,
Get
not
behind
worry
Hayes
about the
because he's the
diving
one
as
with the
much.
cleanse. Lehens is still going to get stunned up. Extendo Beam does a fair bit of
But
work.
I know the
Now
LPL
holding
teams are
onto the
like,
wave. There's the ulti. They look to take
they're
down Lehens first.
dead set on diving. The
Successfully do
VCS as
so.
well, which the
Crow was
VCS,
picked by Pyosik. He had a wild
like
growth.
GAM scrimmed lower LPL teams and PCS teams, so they're all about diving.
That's a cool way to do it.
So KT should be able to get the bottom turret and the dragon, but they're going to lose the void grubs. But now Gnar's going to struggle even more.
Obviously, 6 grubs is going to be really strong whenever you get any alone time with a turret, especially with a champion like a Draven.
That was something Wadid was talking about on his stream too, that Western players are bad at losing, which I agree. Which means, like, not that they're bad losers, but he's saying like Perfect in this example is in a losing matchup. Like Perfect got a little greedy right here.
Oh, look at Perfect's reaction on the player cam. He knows he messed that one up. He flashed forward, misses the boomerang, and
He shouldn't have flashed. He just had his flashback up too. He needed that because he's gonna get dove. He spent all that time not having flash, couldn't go past this line right here.
It's amazing for him. It completely changes how the lane's gonna be.
He couldn't go past this line because he didn't have a flash up, and now he just used it again, and he's got to wait another 5 minutes. So he's gonna have to play super safe.
Aurora is so mobile. You know, she uses her W. She goes around that alcove.
But
and you're just
which is okay. Like I can do that. Like I can play top lane and play safe and be in a bad matchup and still make other plays around the map. That's one reason I like top lane is you have teleport.
Just not much they could do. The charm comes through onto a single target. Does not deny, of course, Deft's ability to follow up with the damage. The Paze is just left out to dry here. Lilia, as you mentioned, is doing the grubs top side, so not able to help out. And Keen goes in by mistake with the weirding here, misplaces it, and then Perfect goes for the punish. Let's watch his first-person view and see what he has to say.
Notice how Keen's autoing with his A, making all those. I don't really right-click. I auto with the A.
But I think it's just the amount of consistent damage that you have with this.
He also, Perfect needed a ward right there, and he would have been able to get Aurora if he had a ward for the brush.
It really does stack up, and then the weirding, even though it was almost his demise, actually helps him get just that additional distance away. Perfect misses both boomerangs, and yeah, that's a rough one. Didn't have vision in those brushes.
Yeah.
So Genji got the dragon. Here I was talking.
Mercury treads.
He got the dragon. He got the void grubs.
That was the exact response. I need to say thank you for the.
KT is worried that much about the Aurora, so they gave up the dragon to help the top lane out.
Backwards into a turret. It's probably not necessarily it.
I would say the Gnar wouldn't do very well in the Draven either. You see, Gnar's in a very bad spot. He doesn't have flash. Now he does have these 2 wards. This ward back here, a sapling from Pyosek. So it's allowing him to go this far. Even though, like, if you're a solo queue player, you should be clear up here. And here, you shouldn't even be this far up. But all these wards are allowing him to play like that. Because, again, he doesn't have flash.
Things like that as well. A lot of utility things that he does put together. We'll see what he does do here. Because, of course, solo queue and pro play are a little bit different when it comes to a lot of the builds. But we'll just have to see
So the
where his
Rift Herald is up.
I think Leandri's is almost always a thing, but he likes Rift Maker.
15 minutes is around the timing where you should have one item in your boots. I don't think the Perfect should have Trinity Force by now to be able to be on the timing to get the bear in like 20-25 minutes.
And he tries to put some circles down. Speaking of circles, the flash out from BDD and Deft is already dead. Can they find the fight though? As Perfect finds an ulti, but there's zero follow-up.
I don't think that at this point KT can win a straight up team fight, so I didn't really, there wasn't much to break down about that fight, I don't think. So Gen G have the Rift Herald now.
Artificial frontline here in this draft, and Perfect's ultimate a little bit late to actually save the day or turn that one around. It looked so good for KT at the start, as Chovy doesn't have any plates here, as you can see, but we'll be watching him go up to the top lane. Did get that cash in off of the kill, so
I don't know about like the Gnar Draven matchup or Corki into, or what would be the other one? No, the Aurora and the Gnar is not good, but what about the Draven and the Gnar?
They already used the ult. I'm just going to hang out, wait for my ult to go through. If they want to push the issue, then I'll auto-attack people, as he does chase them down very quickly here. But it's really just a 1-2 punch of Keen presses R, Chovy aims his R, and it doesn't matter what KT had planned.
So Paze's cleanse is down, Chovy's flash is down, Chovy's teleport is down, Canyon's flash is down, Aurora's ult is down.
Yeah, I do want to say that I hope this doesn't get into Deft's head. We know that a fair few of the plays have been a little bit frustrating.
Marking all these summoners and cooldowns that are down. That's how you make your plays.
He was in the middle of trying to skate out of the fight. It pulled him back over the wall and interrupted him. 793 gold earned by Chovy as he cashes in those adoration stacks. And so yeah, yeah, this is going to be a problem. Bowling ball.
So Perfect finally has flash up, so he can pressure this lane now. But Keen goes mid here.
The amount of sleepy people inside these
KT's rotating down to the dragon, and they're doing it right on top of the scuttle crab that Vision that Gen G have.
This could be a real rough one as they do take down the first Chemtech.
Nice ward from Lahins back there. Not gonna make a slide of it.
All of his attention was used yesterday, I think.
I mean, it was a big day to focus up, so
yeah, it was.
See if today can live up to that. As Gen G, it's only a 100 gold lead, but I think the bigger fear is not the dragon advantage they have right now, not the
even game, except Gen G have 6 void grubs.
How this comp works functionally in a team fight. We saw it on
and a Rift Herald and 2 dragons.
Deft just getting instantly blown up. The angle perfect there for Chovy as Keen closes that gap. And if you use the nature,
so you want to try to catch Deft out because he doesn't have a cleanse. Make some type of play, or catch BDD out because he doesn't have flash. Make some type of play on him if you're Gen G, or catch Chovy out because he doesn't have flash. Catch Canyon out, he doesn't have flash.
He'll stick around for another wave. Looks like this outer turret will survive for a little bit longer. As Keen with some souped up honey fruit. We'll find Perfect once again. Pioshik in good position here to go for a bit of a counter. No bowling balls to be found, and Chovy just moves this wave towards the turret. 50% health on this one.
They have all these void grubs that are going to help push these turrets down as well. Gen G, that is. Even game gold.
All the while stacking his tier up. Not going to be able to get the whole inner probably, but to see a back.
You'll see how these struggles weren't really a big deal because at 15 or 18 minutes in the game, Aurora and Gnar even. He's on his full item and boots. Keen's on his 1 item and boots. Only difference is he's got a dark seal. But Gnar has a health, a rejuvenation, or a health potion. Refill potion.
Hard pushing there, forcing Gen G to respond to him. Really good macro rotation from KT. BD's hovering on the blast cone.
Yep, not quite able to steal away the Rift Scuttler from Pays there, who is able to
Saw,
lock that one down. A little bit of extra vision.
Chovy put that
Far
Farseeker's stone or Farseeker's ward right there.
Chovy will take down the Grump towards the top side. And the game slows down just a little bit. KT with about 200 gold of a lead. But
Now, people are rushing the Iron Locket of Solari on Maokai instead of the Leandries. And I guess he's taking Rando in second, which I don't know about that one, because you've got 2 heavy AD champions, but then you got 2 heavy AP champions. So maybe there's some better itemizations, maybe a Warmogs. Piosx taking a Randoins.
Then you can kind of front to back these fights with the Narbar, but that again relies on your Narbar being set at the exact right
I think he's
time.
taking Randoins. Canyon's on the Seeker's Armed Guard, which I like that he's taking that second item that allows him to engage or disengage, be some type of start a team fight.
And then bam, that's your Zeri gone. If you lose either your
Also,
Zeri
like, if you're a top player, it seems like you get targeted in team fights first. Like, if you're playing into T1, like, Faker automatically gets targeted first every time. Or you play into Genji, like, Chovy automatically gets targeted first every time. Or Canyon, he's, like, automatically gets... On Genji, it's like, who do you target first? But where, like, some teams don't have standout star players, so it's like they get like Jin or G2, like maybe like Caps is the one that most teams would target first every time. But we're into 2 items on the carries, minus Roar's behind, meaning for the Baron. Like, the Baron should be up, right? The next Dragon's up. 50 seconds, 45 seconds. So Genji's around the area where they should be able to take Baron if they want. I think they're waiting on Canyon to finish his Sonya's Hourglass and Aurora to finish whatever her second item is.
On the Aurora and the Lilia and double 80 carry with really high damage output on the Draven. So trying to maintain Baron vision over the next few minutes here is going to be something KT really needs to focus on. Yes, it's still early, but if you come over too late, Genji just rush it down, and if you come over and you're not well set up, but you don't
Lulu got her Mikhail's Crucible already. She's on 2 items.
That's the next worry that KT has to have in the back of their minds.
Corky's a good bit behind from what I've seen. I've seen 18-minute Manamune's fully stacked out of Chovy, so Chovy's keeping Corky behind a little bit for Baron. Or I don't think that KT can win this team fight. Gonna have to get a really good Gnar ult, and Gnar's rage bar is not full yet. I'm watching Gnar waiting on his rage bar to get full. Because that's basically a 4 vs 5 there. Gnar's not done anything in this fight yet. Now he's almost got his full bar. But it's too late. So I was watching Gnar, because, I mean, that's KT's engage or disengage. And he didn't really get to do anything in that fight, so I figured that Genji would win that, or I mean that Genji would win that fight. Maybe not a good time for KT to take the dragon right there. This is what happened, that Gnar needed his rage bar full first. First thing I saw. Hold on. What I'm pointing out. So KT needed Gnar's rage bar full. Meaning, I guess they should have disengaged and gave the dragon over, like they had to in this situation. He was close to being full. And he is a rookie. KT perfect.
doesn't get it in time. Look at this massive ultimate here for Chovy. Keen sets up the ultimate, and then the Recon...
Biosec uses his flash there to, I guess, the jump on
A
Pays.
team fight like this so beautifully off of just one Zhonya's there coming through. Really a Seeker's Arm Guard, I believe it was at the time, for the Lilia. And then Deft, really fancy footwork here, gets over the wall, but then ends up being shut down by Chovy here. So that's 487 in his pocket. But again, no real frontline in this comp. They just use their...
So the
CC
itemizations.
as the frontline, and man, Gen G, that was a beautiful fight. Great
Gen G should be able to take this Baron, waiting on the screen to come back over from the total gold.
Doesn't quite work out. I think if this game was allowed to go and
Keen is ahead of Perfect by 1,000 gold. So Keen's finally on his 2 items. Chovy's on his 3 items. I think Gen G can take the Baron here.
Then maybe Pyosik becomes a big enough tank. You saw in that fight, you know, it was difficult for Canyon to sort of stand his ground, but utilization of that arm guard, like you were saying, really, really nice. And Keen has adapted the build a little bit here, has put in the Malignance as
So Gen G's back behind the Baron wall, just trying to prep this Baron fight here, clearing out
very
wards.
similar to what we saw last time around. I think it was Malignant's first item for Bulldog. Yeah, this time just throw it in as the second one. And this turret.
They get Gen G get the top turret. Main thing is they need Gnar to have his second item by now.
Is well and truly going to go down. No Barons taken.
So KT can't really take team fights.
So KT not needing to worry as much about these, you know,
Got the dragon up in 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Feeling like they're starting to circle the drain.
This is also the time where if you're an AD, you should be mid lane. I don't really know what's going on in this game. Why Xayah isn't in the mid lane. I guess at this point I see why. Chovy's just clearing that lane out, and I see Xayah coming mid now. He was just picking up some extra farm. And I think Gnar's trying to pick up some extra farm too. Like KT's allowing Gnar to go mid. Try to catch up. So Barrel's going to get caught out by Keen.
Beryl is going to flash out of it as Pyosik throws down the ulti. Wild Growth comes in there as well. And he does soak a lot.
I think maybe Pyosek needed the, maybe the Warmogs would have been better, even in that, like that little situation right there. He could have healed back up. We see, as we see BDD teleporting here, but one big problem is Beryl doesn't have any HP. He's not on Warmogs. Pyosek doesn't have any HP. He needs, I think he would need the Warmogs just to heal up.
Test, but I don't think KT have the health bars to make this work. They're going to pull Gen G off the Baron.
Yeah, Beryl actually still just wandering around with 200 health here, making everyone very, very nervous.
Pyosek's going to be late.
Not going to connect onto Beryl.
Beryl needs to go back and heal. Fortunately, he doesn't have a Warmogs like every other support game, where every support's taking Warmogs like Rakan.
Also still oldest. Okay, look at Keen's ultimate though. It gets almost back up. Yeah, this is actually insane. This is one of the crazier
parts. So there, Beryl goes back, heals up, gets 2 control wards, gets a sweeper lens. Or he had the sweeper lens. It came up.
Kind of on command, non-stop is.
So also you kind of have to look at the wards too. What's going on? Like Gen G's getting low on wards, right? Canyon's got 2. Khan just used his last control ward, so he may have to back before they do Baron again.
One step forward, 2 steps backwards here as Gen G.
What else? Maybe waiting on Pays to get his flash and Rakan to get his flash. Rakan doesn't have ult. Beryl doesn't have flash, so Beryl's probably going to get all in whatever fight goes on here. He's not going to be able to flash out. BDD's, that's a really good time to make a play on BDD. He doesn't have flash. Deft should have flash backup.
Can just start this up again. This time they have the turn. This time they have a good set. They look for a pick to start.
Rakan can go over here because he has the Warmogs. It allows him to heal up. He's trying to create pressure off of the Baron. And I think Pyosek needs the Warmogs right here.
I don't think so. That is just more money
Looked like the random ones didn't do much work.
He's going down low, but he's got the Feather Storm. Def still looking to try and fight this one, but it is
Barrel didn't have a flash, so he got fakered by Keen right there.
Def now flashing away from Lehens, and he will at least be able to escape for the moment. BDD, very large health bar, as Canyon once again just going to utilize that stasis beautifully.
So Dragon in 17 seconds, but I think maybe this game is over.
27 minutes in, long respawn timer on BDD. They may just end here. I think they have a pretty good chance.
Got the Void Grubs to help push down these turrets.
Win one team fight. Keen's second ultimate there. He gets it back online. Everybody dies, and they do back away. Even though BDD isn't up, Hyoshik's coming back up.
I guess Gen G I think they could have closed that out if they wanted to, but they're gonna go to get the dragon.
Keen gets his ultimate again. But again, they want to cross their T's and dot their I's. 15 seconds on that ultimate. He could use it on the turn on this dragon.
Cross their T's and dot their I's.
This Aurora champion seems pretty good, Atlas.
Yeah, and KT are just a sacrificial lamb.
Be nice to know if a blue buff is up or not in the KT jungle.
No matter which lane you put her in, and we need to keep it banned forever.
Look at how Keen uses the weirding to push himself away from Hyoshik, then W out to make
Pays gets rooted out of that fight, so he was kind of late.
Really good positioning there. Sets up the ultimate. Perfect. Incredibly low. No way you can do this, and then Keen just bursts down the Lulu. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Unfortunately, KT just don't have the tools. If that Maokai ultimate doesn't catch the Aurora,
Canyon had to use his Zanyas. That may be another reason why they backed, because they needed the Zanyas to refresh to finish out the game, to take the team fights. But the enemy, in KT's enemy base, I mean, like they needed the Zanyas again.
Alright, Genji going, well, I mean, no one plays Victor, so I think it's fine. He might get some quality of life buffs, though. Arcane incoming. Arcane Season 2. Let's see whether Aurora makes it into
So Corky's gone already. Def doesn't have flash, doesn't have cleanse. Barrow no heal, no flash.
Hyoshik into the backline. My God, he went on a journey. Chovy's in a whole host of trouble.
Chovy survived.
The trouble that KT are in. The wild growth on Def does absolutely nothing. And it's Keen that's going to lock him down. Nexus is to follow, and just before.
So there's game number 1.
Will dispatch KT.
100 gold.
Got this in my slides here. So 29 minutes and 12 seconds. Genji had all the Void Grubs.
Yeah, this Aurora is broken. Please ban it.
10k, 11k gold difference.
It does not belong on the Rift in
Keen did more damage than Chovy.
That is what I'm going to say.
So there's game 1. So it's time for me to take my break. Got 2 more of these to do. I may not go as in depth with the stuff. I need a break though, because I did this 40 minutes and then had to redo it all over again. Keen got player of the game. So I'll be back.
Numbers.
It had big numbers. I was a bit of a numbers voter and a bit of an impact voter on that one as well.
To be perfectly honest, like, it does make a whole lot of sense, but I thought that Canyon had a much better game than Chovy.
So just after a little bit of research I did during the break, it turns out that if you want to see the Aurora Borealis, it's actually quite difficult to see until late August.
So, skip here to the draft. So, my little draft thing again, like I talk about.
Because I'm seeing it twice already, and I don't want to see it anymore.
The way I look at it is priority. So, KT's scared of Keen's Cassante. They don't want to play into that. Genji's worried about, I don't know why, but Piosex's Ivern. Of course, I watched LPL earlier today, and Ivern seems like a top pick there. Let me double check again. Okay, we're good. I don't know, Windows likes to mess with that setting for some reason. See, because the longer I get into my stream, I start talking lower and lower, so it's important to have volume louder. 1, 2, 3, 4, which I have these already out on the slides. 2, 2, 3, 3. You're drafting them in groups.
away.
It is quite a choice to make to ban it on blue side, though.
So KT doesn't want to play.
I don't see it anymore. I think that's too much. It's not
KT doesn't want to play into. I don't know if like my internet almost went out at that point. That's what happened. We're good.
Banhammer for that one. We'll have to have a talk to David Turley about it, see whether he can convince someone to adjust that. As
they're worried about Ivern, which Corki seems good in Ivern, but I've seen a couple games where Ivern's beat Corki. HLE just played it. Genji's worried about Barrels, Leona. Again, this is like priority number one. They're most worried about the Ivern, then second about the Leona. In priority, because you have to trade. Trading one thing for another, and then you have to mechanically outplay somebody on maybe a bad matchup, which I have the matchups on a page in the notes we'll take a look at. Maybe it's better to take a look at it now. But KT picks Renekton top, Maokai jungle, Corki mid, Ziggs bottom, and Rel bottom. And Genji pick Gangplank top, Lilia jungle, Draven mid, Ezreal bottom with Nautilus. And so looking at the matchups, Renekton wins against Gangplank. I don't think those stats are right though. Like traditionally, Gangplank is a Renekton counter. Again, I think that's because we're on patch 14.15. We don't have as many games played. These are only 2 games, say in 50-50. That was on the patch before. And I think it's where the Void Grubs come into play. But it's saying that Renekton wins out of the 5 games 40% of the time. So I don't know about the stats there. Maokai is good into Lilia, so Canyon has a bad matchup again. I think the Gangplank's a Renekton counter, but this is because of the Void Grubs. So, like in solo queue, 20-30 minutes helps accelerate the lane matchup into Gangplank. Ziggs into Ezreal. Ziggs wins 75% of the time. Rel, 50. It's like a coin flip there, the Rel into the Nautilus. These stats were from this patch. These stats are from the patch before, saying Draven wins against Corki 100% of the time. That was 5 games. So that's what we're going to see. So you have to think about, well, Lilia into Maokai, so Canyon might struggle a bit into Maokai, even though it didn't really matter in the last game to him. But he did get punished by trying to take Maokai's farm away. Gangplank's been a Renekton counter, but like basing on those stats, then it's saying Renekton's good in a Gangplank, so that means that Canyon's gonna have to show up top lane a lot to help Gangplank get going into Renekton, or what was the Draven into the Corki Draven, so BDD's gonna struggle with the Corki into the Draven. So then Pyosek, Barrel, they'll need to make plays in the mid game and the early laning phase to help get Corki going, accelerate his matchup. Ziggs is good into Ezreal, so Pyosek's going to have to come bottom a lot to help get the Ezreal going.
He looked really good in the last game. Obviously, he had lane prio there on the bottom side and utilized it quite well.
The Rel, who was it? Rel and the Nautilus, so that's kind of even. So KT might struggle really with their bottom lane, so BDD perfect, even making a teleport play bottom when they get dove. Genji might show up bottom a good bit to dive the Ezreal and the Nautilus. Or, I mean the Ziggs and the Nautilus. My bad. KT has the Ziggs and the Rel, so Canyon might have to come bottom a lot to help the bad lane up, bad matchup. So again, a second game in a row, I think the Genji bottom lane got out drafted
Misfortune going to be taken away here as we have a
Didn't
look
seem to
towards
really
the
hurt them in the
side
last
of the map.
game, so
And
KT's going to have to
I'm
worry
kinda
about
expecting that
their
Gen.G just takes a leaf out of
bottom
KT
lane, their
because
top
the
lane they
Zerg
should be
are gonna
fine.
identify that, ban that one away
Their
themselves.
mid lane they should be
Ballista is
fine,
still
shouldn't need any help in the mid
Senna
lane.
still there as well. Were things that were
Gen.G
banned
that
last
is.
The Callisto was the big one for
So
me
you
in
got
this, but
Misfortune
we'll
that
see what ends up coming through here because KT don't have counter pick.
Gen.G
or
don't
AD
want to
carry,
play
so
into the
not like they're necessarily
Misfortune
gonna be able to get a ton of value out of that without knowing
on
what
Deft, and
is
they
on
don't want to
Gen.G's
play
side.
into
They're
the
still gonna
Callista.
respect it. Dev's Callista
Callista
is
gets
a champion
flexed
here. It
to
really
Barrel,
allows
I've seen.
to play a lot of different picks like Nico even. So I think that is
KT they banned the Zeri, I don't know why, or the Ashe,
Pays does have pick priority here.
because there's no
Wouldn't
AD
mind a
picks
Senna
yet.
ban as well, just because Gen.G have 0 frontline, so if you have the ability to then play a Senna on towards the bottom side, then you do actually shore up that slight weakness that they do have.
That's a great point.
So
And
Alistar
why not do it? I think
ban.
that's definitely going to be the angle Gen.G want. They weren't able to make
So
a frontline happen
were they
last time.
planning the
They are
Ziggs?
hovering the Ezreal
That this was a
instead,
planned
however,
comp,
and
the
they will
Ziggs,
have
the
enough
Rel, the
range to
Malachi,
chip away at
Corki.
the KT Rolster
Seems like a
confidence
good
of
mix
big old
of
coming
AD
from
and
Jovi,
AP
Canyon,
damage
etc.
on KT, so this must have
this
been
is
like a
also a find
prepared
that
draft
pays
they had.
you big numbers on the Ezreal, and even with a nerf,
Ziggs is good in the Ezreal.
Scaling, he is still going to be quite strong anyways.
Oh yeah.
As that's going to be the answer here. No Callista for Deft. Ziggs, something we've seen a lot of our teams shy away from this week, even though there have been a few good angles for it.
Yeah, a bit of a fun one.
Good with
And-
Maokai.
Don't see Ziggs on there.
Fair bit of poke damage there as well. And when you do have
Ziggs
so
wins
many
against
swings,
Ezreal
this
75% of the time, even though that's based on 4 games. Ziggs is good into Nautilus as well, so maybe Gen.G are taking a losing match up in the bottom lane on purpose to try to level up.
I mean, he could play Yumi, but he's just going to play Blitzcrank or Nautilus or, you know.
Might
I
be
don't
some
think
of
Nautilus
it.
is that crazy, but it isn't going to do a whole lot.
That
for you
Gen.G's
versus
taking bad
being able
matchups
to
on
handle the
purpose
lane
just to see
pressure.
what they can do, get
Certainly
away
can be
with.
good to stop dives.
Limit
Especially if you want to
tests,
play through bottom lane and try to get
evolve.
depth
I
ahead,
mean,
get
that's
those
how you
goals.
get to the next
Very difficult
level.
to dive in Nautilus,
Take
Ezreal,
bad
but
matchups and you keep
change
grinding
the
and you get
Nautilus
better and you
massive
can eventually mechanically
for the turret,
make up for the
makes
difference.
the turret be the defense. Makes it quite challenging for something like a Maokai
Into
to
the game.
successfully get those kills and then get the Ziggs ahead. So I think
All right. Barrel.
All right, first look here. Pio6 got vision on Canyon. I think Renekton should have vision on Gangplank. And some type of ward fight going on here. Nautilus has a sweeper. So trying to prevent the dive, I would say. KT are probably going to be overextended and pressure this lane. So sweeper early is going to help prevent the dive. Maybe clear out some vision in the KT jungle so Canyon can come over and invade and take camps away from Maokai.
Taking a little bit of damage here as we tick over to about a minute in the game.
As Nautilus is very
Good
deep.
start, as Canyon also going to get hit by a Brambly Smash.
Very, very
Not
deep
bad.
ward.
Wizard
Oh,
I do
yeah, that's
kinda
right.
like that skin. I think
The
that
Hens
full
has
body
the
is
sweepers,
probably
so
best.
maybe he needs
One of the
a
best skins in the
trinket
game.
ward right here.
But
Put
this
some
little,
type
like,
of
Wizard
ward down.
ability one is kinda cool too.
I mean, I think Ziggs has a lot of good skins.
I was gonna say I would think Pays would put his
The
ward
Wizard
there.
one is one of my favorites.
Oh, Chovy. Gonna find
So BDD didn't get a good ward.
PDD here. And yeah.
He had to go for what he could. Chovy gets a very deep ward here. So Chovy gets a lot of damage on BDD and gets his ward at the Raptor pits, allowing him to play safe or pressure his lane. This was probably a mistake on BDD, standing too far forward. If you guys can't read that, then you need glasses. I don't like having this up because it has a lot of ads and stuff.
Spinning Axe just does a lot of
But that'll allow Chovy to pressure his lane, being over the line that I talk about. Like, he's already on the enemy side of the map. That's what this ward does. Also allows them to know where Pyosec will be.
Yeah, he just has
Show up
better
and maybe
base
dive
than
bottom
you,
or
and
top.
more health than you.
And press the attack as well is a little bit unfair.
Really trying to look for a punish here, but I don't think anything is going to happen.
Yeah, Genji's being very greedy here.
Out of
Well,
vision for now.
I think they're
Actually,
trying to shut down,
trying to get a very
intimidate
early finish out of
Pyosec.
BDD. We don't quite know what's going on.
I think they know they're going to lose this
But Jonas
early
Wong
laning
provides
phase as well.
Absolutely beautiful. But you can see BDD able to utilize the phosphorus
So
pump
that
right now.
ward of BDD's pays
offer
off a lot because it
less than
shows
zero, and,
where
that's
Lehen's
one probably
was,
to this comp down here on the bottom side. So I get that, you know, give pace
meaning he
strength
was
to
out of lane.
Yeah.
and see if you can catch a whoopsie. Not going to happen, but Deft first.
But see, they're already pressuring the lane. Pressuring means this line, and then you're pushing the wave over the line into the turret. You're always trying to crash your minions and waves into the enemy turret. That's what you're trying to do.
Zig's game of the season. He's played it in the past. I feel
Under
like it's a
pressure.
pick
Din, din,
that
din, din, din,
he's
din,
gone
din.
to in a lot of these types of
Din,
scenarios where he
din,
wants
din,
to win
din, din,
lane,
din, din.
but hasn't always found that success with this pick. I personally don't really associate him with great success on it, but strong for the comp.
So early, yeah, Renekton's strong into the gangplank.
Perfect's doing the thing.
Yeah, slice and dice.
Till
and that
about
can all
level
hold.
6.
But Keen is just going to be able to walk it off, at least for the moment. A lot of
I
value.
mean, one nice thing about
for
Gangplank is he's
Sodaron.
got basically
Good
2
there.
flashes
He
because
can
of
go
his
low because he
Cure
does
Scurvy
have
and
health. He
the
gets
Flash.
his, health bar back. Fury now going to be
He's
built
got
up
a
again
slow
by
on the
Barrow.
barrel. I know I've talked about this before, but there's also a really neat trick with Gangplank where you can chain his barrels and hit like 3 of them in a row and you can't even see it. It's so fast. And he just pokes you. And so when you're playing against Keen, he's always comboing these barrels so you can't even see him.
And things going.
Like you can get them to chain off as soon as they land on the ground so you can't even see the barrels. It's just boof, and then you're chunked.
Tell you what, there's one thing that's impressed me about Perfect, and that has been his mental fortitude.
Absolutely. You know, he has been down but never out. I feel
So
like in
Corky
so
getting
many
behind
games.
already
You
by
know, that
like
first Udyr
what,
game so long
7
ago, where he
7
took 0 to
CS.
7, but kept it together, made some big plays.
Huh.
Great. That's okay.
That's a direct.
Lily is on the bottom side,
Just because he mishooked the
probably to help prevent the dive in the bottom lane.
They're not great
One thing
with
good
that,
about
though.
Maokai is he can dive.
Roham actually,
Again, the LPL teams love to dive. They do it like every game, around 4 or 5 minutes. Coach Kim's probably all about diving. He coached IG that won the world championship, Chinese team. Nice gank here from Barrel. Chovy gets punished. So, that's a poor representation of a line there, but Chovy, oh, I forgot one thing. I always like to circle the time so you know the timings because it's There's a perfect game where you're playing against the clock in the game. So Chovy being punished for overextended. I'm guessing his ward dropped by then. Chovy ward drops.
That is going to be first blood going over to BDD, and Chovy just didn't
So
even get to the
BDD
wall
is
of
kind of
the
caught up,
Barrel
right?
with a great roam timing
Got
here,
12
knowing
CS
that
to
Lillian
21
is
CS,
likely
but he's
not
got the
gonna be
300
around,
gold
wouldn't be
from
able
the
to impact
takedown.
The gank very much anyways because she doesn't have
Perfect
level 6.
played, super
Perfect
aggressive.
takes the pressure on
That's
here,
what you
but
got to
that was a
do is
great roam.
Renekton.
Ends up taking Chovy out there. BDD picks up a kill, and that'll shore up the CS deficit.
See if you
He'll
change
be able
these
to find
barrels.
cloth armor and his tier, and then return back and catch this wave. Chovy
Can't
having to
really do it
teleport
till
that
later
short
on
pick
though
of
when you
Cull
have like a
off
second
of
ranking
that
into the
ideal,
barrels.
not the Vamp Scepter we saw him get on
Keen
first
really
back.
couldn't do anything. Oh, the dog wants down. So, let's see. So Piosek's been over here and got some, I think the Raptor camp from Canyon. I think that's Piosek's ward.
Wait, now Pyosik is back. Well, I mean, Pyosik is here for the first time.
So Chovy's teleport is down, BDD's teleport is down.
Chovy into the jungle. Canyon already here. Sapling does scout
So Canyon's, I think that's why, I think Pyosek got his
out
Raptors.
the brush.
I could go back in time and look, but I'm not going
Pyosik
to.
moving in. I don't
So
think he
then
really wants this.
Canyon
Workout
takes
Deep is just gonna
Piosek's,
be used
which I think that Pyosek won the smite fight there. No, Canyon
on
might
the
punish
camp, but
Pyosek
Pyosik just managed to get
with
that
the dragon here in
Smash
45
as
seconds.
well on the little popcorn chickens.
Yeah, nicely done there from Pyosik.
Good
Pretty
handling.
difficult to take things away.
I would think
from
that
Lilia. Canyon just
Jinji
jumped right
know
on
to
the
take the
there.
dragon at 5 minutes, unless I've not tested Lilia. Maybe Lilia can't do
Yeah, Chovy
dragon
able
at
to get
5
that.
minutes
Did
without an
cost BDD
item.
a large amount of his health bar, but leveling
So-
up helped him out there.
Maybe Canyon's trying to get his first, get the faded ashes is what he's going for. He's trying to power to that real quick.
Every time I say Satchel, it reminds me of Tangled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I've tried Vi, she can do the dragon at 5 minutes. Lee Sin can, Nidalee can. Some of the reasons to play them.
That there is a flash, and he's not going to go too far.
I mean,
That baited him in last
Genji
time.
have the
Young man
wards
is
around the
learning.
dragon
I
pit.
think if he had his
I
Q
think
back
they
up,
know
he
better
definitely tried
that
to force
they're
the
just
issue, but didn't
limit
have it.
testing
This
and
is going all the way
playing
back to Barrel's level
what
2
I call
roam.
stupidly
They have 5
aggressive.
bottom Just love the family vibes of,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
So
BDD
they'll secure the kill here.
notice how it
BDD
looks
doesn't
like
steal it away. BDD's super hyped
Lehens
about it.
comes middle just to give a ward to Chovy, so he has his
And you just love it when BDD
safe laning
It's
phase.
just a fantastic thing. Man
There's
has
a
been
ward
through a lot,
here.
throughout his time in the LCK.
I guess that's not
Just
his
love the
ward.
family vibes of
He has
all
his
the
sweeper lens.
DRX members plus BDD, you know,
Yeah.
perfect coming up. as
Now
the
it's getting
rookie.
where Keen
It's a
can
team that's really hard to root against, you know?
poke
Kind of
Renekton,
always
so
has been, but this roster in particular really
his early power range is about over for the Gangplank Renekton matchup.
end up finding himself with a small
Keen
deficit
has his
of
Sheen
Barrel's
too,
roam,
that
so
helps his power spike.
realize that. Hasn't really been able to put any pressure on the turret.
I would think DR or KT would want to get the dragons, but
but
they maybe KT might have a plan where they're wanting to aggressively push the top and pressure the entire time and get the void grubs and help accelerate this matchup even more. This should put KT behind by 5 minutes.
Certainly some good attention being
Uh,
paid here.
Pays
by
is
all
doing
teams
well
to make
with
sure that we do
Lehens
get
keeping
the,
even
Tech
with the
Deck first.
zigs,
Getting that out of the way.
Yeah,
the
love to see it.
rel.
That's going to be some grubs taken here as well in response. So as the dragon goes down, Pyosik is going to be taking these. And so pretty
Renekton
easy
going
when it
back
comes
to
the
get.
global objectives. Barrel
I don't know if he'll go
things
Eclipse
out.
first.
Understand Understands that he
Have
isn't
plated
seen
steel
here by
boots,
Canyon,
which
who
is
going to get
upgraded and
stunned
even
up,
better.
but not able to walk through the
Might
headset
start seeing the
minefield.
boots
Lahen's
even
gonna do that,
more.
though, 'cause now Canyon lit on fire.
So let's see what is Gen G.
Here by Canyon.
They get. Looks like they're gonna get punished for going over here without any vision in enemy jungle.
Understands that he isn't seen here by Canyon, who is going to get stunned up, but not able to walk.
I don't know why he's
through
going for the
headset minefield.
Raptors. So Canyon gets punished for being aggressive for no wards in the enemy jungle. Does have Lahen's there. I also think I can do something where I do this and then comment. Yeah. Canyon punished. Punished. Does have Lahen's.
Lahen's gonna do that though, because now Canyon lit on fire.
So Lahen's gets a root on Deft.
BD comes down, the satchel is gorgeous. Jovi's coming in, but they're looking to try and close in.
So Gen G's a little over aggressive and overzealous for getting the dragon, trying to get more off the map, and they get punished.
The follow-up is not there, and now Pyoshik is going to turn up. It's a double for BDD.
So if Gen G lose, this may be the downfall of why Gen G lose. This may be the play why Gen G lost the game. Canyon's in here with no vision. And they get punished.
KT, stop it! Triple for BDD.
Canyon loses his flash.
BDD's early quirky skirmishes, and this time he just kind of cleaned up the kills, but a big overextension from Gen G is punished. Fantastic ultimate from Pyoshik. The satchel charge from Deft was basically
And
perfect.
KT got the 3 Void Grubs already. The Dragon's up in 4 minutes.
Oh, slice and dice, and now Perfect is going for it once
Perfect
again.
has his
Dominus
steel plate
is
boots,
taking
and they
on
were
Sakine.
buffed, so
One
they
more time, Perfect
do
says,
10% to 8%, would makes a big difference when you're talking about 30,000 damage and 40,000 damage.
Really tough with that extra health from the ultimate to do anything back there. Perfect sets up the stun really nicely. Has his Fury back here as well, so he can just clear this wave. Canyon doesn't have ult, so I don't think he's really going to be able to impact this play. But it's good that the observer
Nice
show that he is
ward
nearby.
spot there
Perfect
from
going for an
Keen.
overextension. Speaking of,
Yeah, underneath the turret now is Perfect. He does clear out the
Perfect
wave.
should
The
get
bowling ball
punished
goes
right here,
wide.
even though
And realizes
Canyon
that
doesn't have
that's
ult, he
like
doesn't have
gonna
flash.
hold the Renekton in place.
man, KT fans giving Perfect a big standing ovation, it feels like, here in the
So
arena.
no
After that
vision
was
here at
Canyon.
all.
Kind of greedy here, just like we saw in the previous game, except this time on the bottom side of the map. Gets
Yeah,
caught here
Canyon
by
got
Arrow.
punished for a
Lance
play like
is
this
trying
in
to
the
keep
last
Deft
game
at
as
bay, but
well.
he's zigged, so rooting that guy and trying to
BDD
isn't
did
gonna
a good
really
job
work.
collapsing
Gives it
on
back to Corki that
on
rotates
this,
over
turning
there.
off the
Deft
Chovy
is
fight.
very late here, is able to avoid the ultimate from Chovy, which is massive.
Bias
He
had
doesn't
great
go down.
follow-up with the
No
Mayokai
connection,
ult.
and Lehens is left out to dry. Great skirmish there.
So KT seem like they can adapt when they need to and turn quick team fights, so they have that skill.
That's a real happy. Look at Harai. Harai is like, it's not even happiness. He is just relieved. He's like, oh god, I've seen them do this in scrims all the time. Like, what the heck? You can imagine that there is a fair bit of relief. It shouldn't be coming in yet.
So
right?
that
Yes,
may
they have a
snowball the
2,000 goal
game
lead
right
at 9
there.
minutes.
Like,
That's very
there's a
much
lot of
this time
momentum
the
in
game.
sports.
I don't care. They need to kill a
Dragon
Nexus,
up at 2
and we haven't
minutes,
seen
20
that
seconds,
quite some
Void
time
Grubs a
from
minute and
KT.
30
Yeah.
seconds, so
BDD
I would think the
doesn't have
Dragon
any
would be
CS
a
here, but the fact that he
bigger
has the steel
priority
caps here means that Chovy
for
can
Gen
free back
G,
as
even
much
though
damage as
Gangplank's
Scepter was
behind
doing.
by
The
60
call is still a
CS.
ways away, so the Corki taking control of this matchup this early and getting plate gold as well means that Chovy, now also losing adoration stacks a second time, is really going to be behind the curve as where
Lahen's
where he'd
coming.
like to be. Gen
Looks
G's
like
got
he may be
incredibly
going top
strong field
side, like
composition,
Void
though.
Grubs
Lilia doesn't
side
have
to
damage.
help
The
prevent
GP
the
is gonna be
Void
massive
Grubs.
later, is significantly down on farm now, but will scale up. The Ezreal also will do more damage in the longer team fight than Zig's burst damage.
So Lehens just roams way over here to get a ward.
With his
Help
Valkyrie is going to be able to
Chovy pressure in
bring
his
enough
lane,
distance,
keep
and even
him
without
safe.
flash, I think BDD very capable of putting
Help.
on a lot of pressure. If this back does come through, it could
Give
be
information on the
already
Void Grubs.
around 10 minutes into this
It's
game.
crazy, but I think you might be right.
Yeah, boots 2 already, and the added premium on those. Certainly good news. But,
Did make a
BDD not
greedy
gonna
play
get
going
the
over to the
matchup.
enemy
Chovy is gonna
jungle.
go
Okay,
away.
he put a ward down
Teleports
right here.
will be unleashed. So is Lehens. He is just refusing to be in the bottom lane. It is Ezreal versus
Chovy
Zig.
should back. He doesn't have any
And
mana.
Sodaron is back, but I think he's only been there for like a few seconds to try and get himself a Magnet Storm, and he is successfully.
He's also into a Corki that has 4 takedowns and a phage and a plated steel caps. Maokai's on his his iron locket already.
Kane is just chilling.
Has his Fury perfectly set to get the Empower there as he goes in with the slice.
Okay,
and
so
dice.
Pyasek gets spotted on a ward. I'm guessing that was one of the big reasons that Lehens put this ward here, and also it allowed
Fury perfectly set.
Proct, slicing and dicing, and Kane is just chilling.
Has his
so great ward placement from Lehens, because this allows them to see Pyosek coming out of their jungle. It was from Lehens, who roamed clear up there a minute ago to place this ward, so
Fury perfectly set to get the Empower there as he goes in with the slice and dice. Doesn't need to use his
also at a good time too, because the Scuttle Crab's about to drop. So Dragon in 40 seconds. I would think that Genji's going to plan to take the Dragon. They've got the Gangplank ult to help if there's some type of skirmish or backlash from KT.
Ooh, not able to actually stop that barrel. I think that would have been a demolish proc. That would have been another plate. That had happened instead. Gonna lose out.
Keen's got his steel-plated boots as well.
Going to get hit by the bowling ball.
Yeah, and I think we'll see that more and more.
No one's going to be able to
Because the
stop
boots
from
are
doing that. And
buffed.
a lot of this is courtesy of A, good lane
And
from
the other
but
boots
B,
are nerfed
there is
and
a
cost
giga
more.
fed Corki in the mid lane. Yeah.
Genji have a lot of vision down here around the Dragon Pit as well, so Lehens was probably out here placing wards where I was looking in other spots.
Kind of losing it because KT have a big lead, and I don't know what it means. Well,
Yeah,
I just don't.
I'm not ready to say that this is a great position. I mean, obviously, in terms of the gold, it is. But
Genji
the
could take the
issue is
dragon
there.
now.
Ziggs
I
is
don't.
gonna scale
Okay,
pretty
there
well.
we
The
go.
Corki
Going
is
for the
accelerating.
dragon. Chovy's ult is about to be back up. All the summoners are up. Minus Def just teleported. His flash should be up here in a minute or
And obviously has a pretty
few
great
seconds.
game as well. Speaking of, Lehens nearby.
Yeah, BDD actually not quite winning in this trade. Does finally pick it up as the ball.
So they
goes
decide-
wide. Beryl and Pyosik in position. And,
I don't know why they
the
didn't
twist
just
is
start
there
up
to
the
go into
dragon.
this one. Magnustorm connecting onto two. The Nature's Grasp as well. Holds them in place. The flash forward. The shotgun down gold is on.
I think they would have been better off just starting up the dragon. They were worried about starting some type of fight.
Is gonna fall down as well as Genji will let Pyosik live for now, but 2 kills off the back of that one, and Genji are on the board.
I do like that Maokai DRX skin. I have it on the PBE server. Not really big on giving Riot money for skins. It was good like 10 years ago, but I just, what they invest their money in, why can't you upgrade the game, client, and the champions, the old champions?
Will utilize that gold very well. No cash in for Chovy, which arguably could be a good thing because he didn't have as many stacks as you normally have at 12 minutes here. Maybe he'll get a better
I think
one
like Canyon's getting his blue buff and his Gromp now. Did get the dragon.
Out of it.
Yeah, still gonna be able to get another plate here.
So if KT win this game, it kind of it goes against my formula, right, of getting the 4 dragons and closing the game out. Now I think if KT win, it snowballed from
really buy it on the last back, but he wasn't quite able to.
It snowballed from
As
the
you can
first
see,
fight
knocked up
where
a couple of hands. He does die for it, though, with the sleep.
Canyon was in the enemy jungle, gets caught out.
Genji end up winning this fight. Pays also shows up and cleans up house. Pioshik will be able to get out with his life, but still massive here for Genji. And this game and the lead that KT has, the turret does go down. They still have a lead. But you can see how Genji are so punishing. If you think you have an angle, but Genji are...
And as you see, like, the power of the Void Grubs here, where KT have 6 Void Grubs, and yeah, I like the Eclipse first item on Renekton because of the shielding that you need around 20 minutes in the game, and the heal that you don't get on Black Cleaver. But anyways, I think it's the best Renekton first item. Seen it make Renekton survive at the Baron fights at 20 minutes, where most people say he's not tanky. So they heavily invest to get Renekton here. He loses his flash. The Rift Herald is up, so Genji applying pressure to this top turret, getting the Void Grubs.
I think the flash back in to look for a little bit of healing there. Probably would have wanted to hold on to that
I guess
one, but,
they're not going Rift Herald.
Still,
Canyon would rather have his red buff. I think he worries about the buffs too much, in my opinion, because look, Maokai's sneaking over here and getting the Rift Herald. I would rather have the Rift Herald than the red buff. So if there's a flaw in Canyon, it's he gets worried about his buffs too much. Where I prioritize the objectives in the pits first over buffs. Yes, the buffs are important. A good bit of XP, but Canyon got out rotated there. So kind of some bad plan and thinking from Canyon right there. And I think Genji's worried about getting this Renekton shut down now because Keen's been struggling with him. Got 139 CS to 112. Even though he's got been killed 2 times.
To be able to stop this as BDD tanks up the turret for a very long time, and there's another minion wave coming in. Keen going to get pushed back. The crash down is going to get the
KT heavily invests to take Keen out. His flash is down, his ultimate is down. Canyon's flash is down. Again, I talk about this, but if you're a mid laner and you lose lane, or you win lane but lose the game, it's probably because once the first turret's down, you need to rotate to the mid lane. And your mid laner and top laner side lane. And then it allows your support and jungle to come in and babysit you, and because you got an open lane, you don't have vision that you're missing from the cannon, the turret being down.
The wave is probably a good thing if they were considering pushing further forward. But this was just a little bit unfortunate. Perfect. Did get the wave, I guess.
Yeah, it was a slice and dice back in, by the way. I misread that as a flash for some reason.
So what is it? 50 seconds, 59 seconds. The
The
dragon will be up.
Or at the initial part of the play.
KT, if they want to win, I'm guessing they need to start getting some dragons.
There would have felt amazing, but it's not. Bomb into the fight.
Corki's on his 2 items already, so that's pretty ridiculous. Should be able to get an early Baron the way the items are looking. Ziggs is on his item and a half already.
Play through him at all. Barrel left him out to dry basically alone in the lane. He was down on CS. He's still down on CS.
But Keen's on his item. Canyon's got his Seeker's Arm Guard already. I find that important. So he can engage or disengage. Not instantly get melted. Pays on his Trinity Force and Caulfield's Hammer. He's a good bit behind Corki.
Very long range, very reliable wave clear that is making sieging very difficult. The Ziggs does have the Mega
What about Barrel?
Lock things down, I believe, was just used towards the top side as the Whirling Death was used towards the bottom side. There's Cannon Barrage there as well.
Barrel's on getting close to his Warmogs, where Nautilus still has another half item to go.
From these shoves is actually being pretty important.
So Genji can't do anything about this dragon, I don't think. They're behind by a couple K gold. I don't think they can straight up win the team fight. They gotta play around the map.
bio bottom side and there's no turret gold to grab there, they're like, nah, you can have one Ocean Drake.
Ezreal, it takes a while till he does damage.
This GP that needs to scale. Their comp absolutely is incredibly strong when it gets to the late game, and that's what they're banking on. Had a deficit early, but if they could just buy time and trade dragons for money, that money is going to be more valuable later on. And they have a 2 Drake lead, so they can afford that. Even the Ocean Soul is also, you know, fairly weak.
Yeah, we don't really care.
They could get.
Also,
Never mind. So see, they could get perfect, but that's right. That was KT's teammates in here. That's why Perfect was allowed to make that play like that, because he had all of his teammates down here in the top side of the jungle. Way overextended.
So we're looking to see them put the screws in, find themselves intelligent fights.
KT might even be prepping to do the Baron here really soon. Should have the damage with the Corki and the Ziggs, the Renekton. Sitting on their items. Especially having a fully stacked Manamune and a Zeal at 18 or 19 minutes now. Renekton has his teleport, so he can teleport to the Baron if needed. I think that's what's going on, is KT's trying to prep for the Baron here. Those teleports are so quick. Keen's, I think he maybe should have went for Chovy there, because Perfect went for Keen. Maybe Chovy would have been the better choice.
Great ultimate there from Deft, and also Chovy. Yeah, Chovy, if he managed to get that shot down, that'd be a big one. Although he did get shot down after 4.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, maybe just play that
I forgot my tea, but I think I can make it another.
On the edge is Deft.
Let me grab my tea real quick. Okay.
Yeah, Canyon runs really fast, especially with that passive stacked up. Def doesn't want him to get on in here, but he's still going to be able to.
So that was a very greedy play from Canyon as well.
He just teleported in.
Canyon is number 5 on the Korean ranked ladder and is called Jug King. So he really might be the king of the jungle as much Korean solo queue he plays. Plays a lot of solo queue. Looking at it earlier, I exited out of it. I should have pulled it back up. So Chovy's gonna be a little late with this teleport because he had to go back. I don't think Genji with their comp can just straight up win this team fight. They gotta really kite people around because of the Ezreal poke and poke from the barrels from Gangplank. Also Canyon's dead. That doesn't help. I mean, this is a very early Baron, and look at it getting melted from BDD's damage, and Deft has been putting more of his damage. I mean, BDD's doing a lot of the damage here. They get a Baron. Very, very early Baron for KT. I like that. This is the type of games I want to see. So Chovy got his QSS. He did need that. It was important for Chovy to have. He was just a little bit behind. I think Perfect as well. He went for Gangplank. Renekton when he teleports in. Pays was back here in a great place, I guess, to poke. Like Ezreal's range. Q. I don't know exactly. It's been a while since I played Ezreal. But he's in a great spot to be safe and poke. But I do remember Renekton teleporting in and goes straight onto Keen. It's like, I don't know, I'd probably do Chovy. And then Mega Inferno Bomb comes in. So he hit Chovy. I guess that he had to turn because the team was doing all their damage. You know, the team calls out one target and then you all hit that. some of why you don't do well in solo queue is some of your teammates are hitting one target, some of your teammates are hitting another, where when you're on a team, you can all be like, all right, everybody attack this one target, and then they get melted.
Avoids that Q from Pays and gets out. Keen has oranges, but there's just way too much damage. But
And so BDD wasn't near Chovy.
the Renekton and the Corki and Canyon. Nothing he can do here. Spacing and the dodge from Barrel, fantastic. Now he doesn't have flash for the follow-up here, where he's looking for red buff. And this is insanely greedy. BDD, once Def communicates...
Very
like,
greedy
all
of
right, well, I'm gonna
Canyon.
TP flank
Of course, I
ESTP,
talked about him, how
and
he's
a free
the
kill.
Jug King.
I mean, he's huge, and you know, I think he probably kills him even if he's not sitting at 7 kills at that moment or whatever it was he was sitting on at that moment in time. But he's got a rapid fire cannon now in his inventory, and I mean, he can do no wrong basically at this point. Genji's comp still scales incredibly well, and KT don't
So
have,
Dragon in 50
you know, the
seconds.
ability to
KT needs to try to push lanes out, take advantage of their Baron buff, get some turrets down. They're over here, it looks like, you say stealing jungle camps, but there's nothing up.
Maybe take out an inhibitor turret or an inhibitor.
Maybe the wolves.
Baron, the 90 seconds you've got left, that would be massive.
Yeah.
You want real
Yes,
permanent damage to this base.
there they go,
Yeah,
pushing
and,
down a
I
turret.
think the satchel,
taking
being able to
advantage
take
of the
down
Baron
some of these
buff.
structures as well pretty quickly. We'll be able to extend this. Cannon Barrage invested.
Oh, and they got the
a
Void
tool
Grubs,
they won't
too.
have as the rapid fire cannon shot. Not doing quite as much as I was expecting. Still does a fair bit towards Pays here. As this inner
I might
turret-
underestimate the Void
Baron plus
Grubs.
6 grubs, guys. Like, this is so much structural damage they are doing.
It's crazy too, and they're splitting this up into 2 lanes here, so pushing the bottom wave now as Genji
Unless
runs
it's
over
like
that,
it
and
evens out, the
the
Dragon Soul
pushing
and
wave
Void
becomes a little more
Grubs are
threatening.
even
Canyon
in
on the
power.
flank
I don't
looks
know.
like actually just gonna clear the
Something
wave.
new,
I
gotta
don't think Genji can really
trying to
offer
figure
a
that
fight
out,
this
solve that
stage. I mean, only
equation.
2 items on Keen. It's not that big 3-item spike.
I think Canyon's down here trying to cause, you know, pressure. He's trying to be like, hey, come get me, come get me. I don't even have flash. So that they stop pushing in their enemy, so KT stops pushing into the enemy base and waiting for trying to get the Baron buff to wear off. So I think that's why Canyon's way down here doing this. He may even get punished. He doesn't have flash either, but he does have
Here
Zhonya's.
for Genji, they've still got this ward down as Lehen's just not allowed to walk through. Leandri's now completed here for Deft as well. And there's the flash forward from Goshik, looking.
So Pays had to instantly burn his cleanse to survive.
Trophy moving on over. This Genji squad is still very, very scary, but there's no cannon barrage for this fight. It has been so important in the last one.
So the Dragon's live. So that might be a big play that just happened on Pays because he won't have flash or cleanse.
So much poke damage. Trophy can't walk in. Even after pressing W, it's not going to quite work out. And Lehens, he has to get out of there as well. This is going to be the Drake secured by KT. And Genji, I don't think it's worth the risk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an Ocean Drake. Let it go. Scale.
So
Yeah.
That's the game plan.
I think the Sterix Gauge Eclipse is good too on the Renekton. I've talked about that in my past VOD reviews and streams. And their Piasek got the Warmogs this time. The random ones didn't work.
Yeah, Canyon, I'm not sure what the intention was, but he's going to get crashed.
Maybe like a third item. But Warmogs is just really strong at 20 minutes.
And Canyon, he's going to go golden again. It worked in game number 1, but that's because he had teammates around him. This time, he was alone.
I mean, Canyon is having a real rough game, to be honest with you, Atlas. He is playing super disrespectfully, super greedy. It's kind of reminiscent of his final year on D+, where the team wasn't winning, but he was playing like they were massively ahead all the time. And I think for most of Canyon's career...
I was going to say, I don't know if it's a bad, if it's not, it doesn't look good. I guess if Chovy's having to take his jungle camps, he can't even lane. And he's got this lane's pushed clear up here on the enemy side.
Just not it, unfortunately.
Chovy doesn't have teleport either, so he can't really side lane.
Instantly, no teammates nearby. TP going straight into mid as well to help secure and guarantee. Because if he actually buys time here, there's no TP from Perfect. Maybe they get.
I don't even think Draven's a good mid pick, right? Like it's.
Maybe they could try to
just
play, but I'm really just giving a
it's
to Canyon on
like
this one.
wow, I can't believe that he's getting away with playing Draven mid.
By KT Rolster, who
It's not really a good mid lane pick.
team to take a game off Gen G. I mean, now I'm confident to say that they
He can
really
just
have
get
such
caught
a
out
massive
too
advantage
easily.
that I feel very confident in them. However, No inhibitors down. And until that happens, I think Genji is still in this. Third item coming online here for Keen.
And you got Corky that's got 9 takedowns already at QSS. Rapid fire cannon. But the Sterix and the Eclipse, great. You need the shielding at like 20 or 30 minute window for the Baron and maybe Dragon fight. So you got 2 more Mogs.
Fights if they can actually take a fight on their terms.
Oh, hook gonna connect here onto Perfect, who does go golden immediately. Cannon Barrage back up and available once again.
All that shielding that he had to survive. Renekton's really good at buying time, so your teammates can collapse in and help save you, and start a fight or end a fight.
Teleport here for Def, where you can come up and say, I'm just going to guarantee there's no way they can turn this. Really means a lot when you're ahead to have that extra teleport on the Ziggs. Use it defensively to kind of lane. If you get dove, you know, if you're getting pushed out, you can come back to lane. But it's very valuable now when you have control of the map. If Genji want to make a proactive play, you're just
So
like, no,
Baron in 45 seconds.
That's the end of that.
I think that's why KT should be able to take it. They got all this vision over here outside of the Baron pit. They've prepped for the Baron already. Not so much for the Dragon.
KT looking to set up some deep vision.
BDD, I see he's getting the red buff from KT's side.
I feel like at this stage, with Ziggs this online and the pushing power this comp has, should be able to get you some inhibitors. If not,
So Lehens is having to go to work over here, take out the wards from KT.
Try to deny this Baron, but it's so tough with a lack of vision here. Lilia does have the Zonias. Maybe setting up a big sleep for Chovy's ultimate to rip through some health bars. Blowing up BDD at the beginning of the fight would be huge. There's still some angles here for Genji, but with no vision, it's all dark. I mean, right now, Genji can see nothing. As
I don't think like Canyon's played much Lilia either, so he might be like limit testing on Lilia, trying to see what he can get away with.
Him and Perfect will be able to catch this in mid lane as Beryl thinking about a flank angle. Pioshik there as well. Nature's Grasp in hand as Chovy wants to be able to grab his team a red buff. She'll be able to do so here. KT have done the same on their side of the rift, and now Deft.
Be funny if KT could go up and get steal Chovy's red buff.
And right now, KT
looks like maybe KT's waiting on BDD to get the blue buff right here. Piasek's got full red and blue buff. BDD's got full red and blue buff. They're ready to go.
Look at how respectfully Genji are playing. Like,
Even looks like Perfect has a red and blue buff. I don't think he does. I don't know how there's so many red and blue buffs going on. Chovy's got red and blue buff.
Very sneaky check there from Canyon, but once they get rid of that ward, they know they can start this one up.
Ziggs has is there like a, is it, maybe that's like the elixir or something that I don't know. Why are there so many red and blue buffs?
Without that cannon barrage up and available, that's the question.
Yeah, it's so tough. Great, you know, usage there of the setup by Def, holding the choke point, making sure that Keen couldn't wrap around. Pay's gonna have to shift out.
Yeah, Twisted Advance, remember, one of the best tools at getting on top of Ezreal.
Chovy in top lane, he has TP, but KT are saying, look, your Ezreal's out of here, GP's in the bottom lane, we're gonna threaten your inhibitor, we don't need a Baron.
And this is gonna go down so incredibly.
They've got, KT's got the 6 Void Grubs, so that helps push these turrets down really quick. Ziggs eats through turrets real quick with his passive. That's probably another reason to get the Void Grubs in this team comp too. Void Grubs plus Ziggs.
This is beautiful macro play, and it's making me mad, Wolf.
It's so good. I can't KT play like this all the time.
Yeah, right?
Keen has no barrage, as you mentioned, has a TP, is going to utilize it, but he's so far away. Here comes Canyon for the flank. Perfect says no.
Well,
Canyon has Zonias, so.
Canyon is just pushed out of there, and
Nope.
BDD is
But he got bursted down so fast by BDD.
flashing on top of another.
BDD did use his flash, so he might be able to get punished for that.
Go away. Beryl in a little bit of trouble here, though, as the bouncing bombs are coming in, and Def able to just outrange. They do sidestep the Mega Inferno Bomb as Pioshik. KT looking like.
So here comes the Maokai ult, and Lehens gets caught in it.
Now they're not. Lehen's gonna
Oh, that was a nice play from Beryl, and then they got Maokai rooted.
Magnet Storm as Keen just flashes right into all of them. A beautiful Mystic shot will connect there from Pace. He's still
Now, if we can just see KT play like this more.
KT will win yet another fight. Chovy Chovy out of this one.
I like this KT roster.
But not this time. Pioshik, he's got a full health bar and a dream. And a twisted advance. Good night, Pays. That's going to be a game 3, I think, Wolf. I think so.
I don't think there's really much positioning or anything I could really talk about more there of like what Gen G could do to win the team fight.
The second team to defeat Gen G in a game here in summer. The only team to defeat them in a series
I think
this year
Barrel is very underrated. No other players won championships on 2 different teams. I just think they, like I said, the joke's like, why does KT not win or do what you want them to see during the regular season split? They're all rich, except Perfect, and so they probably just have fun and know that the real grind comes in here starting like next month when you go to boot camp. That's when you really start grinding, and you're like, because you got to save some energy and stuff throughout the year, so they're kind of just coasting and floating along. Maybe their sign should be a boat or a raft floating in a river, but they're just floating and scraping by, waiting to get to playoffs, if they get to playoffs. But I think they will. They'll do what DRX did. I don't know if they'll win Worlds. I mean, we saw DRX like do the impossible, so it wouldn't surprise me to see this roster. Perfect's got a long road ahead of him. He's gonna have to level up against all these better top laners that have more experience.
Into getting kind of barrage, walking away, pushing mid, going back to Baron, knowing they had that turn, Perfect's positioning, catching the 2022 dream. Yeah. And you know what? When KT
So it looked like a good game from KT. I mean, again, Canyon, it started to snowball where he made this very aggressive play that you just get punished by good teams for being aggressive. What happened there? Canyon. Doesn't matter about Lehens being there. Because I think Canyon got killed there. Maybe snowball for Gen G. Losing game. I'd like to know how you set that to default a certain size you want every time, but it resets. There we go. So, okay, we got one more game and it's time for me to take my break. And I will be back and finish this series with game number 3. We're tied up Gen G, KT Rolster. I'll be back. So back to game number 3 here on the next level with Sodaron. I really starting to like that song more and more. Pretty cool song. It like gives me a boost of energy. And this is the problem with my stream and stuff is I'm 3 hours and 30 minutes into recording this, and I feel like, and this is okay, Sodaron, your hair goes the opposite way of what you want when you're looking at a camera. So, you know, my voice starts to go down, your energy level goes down. I try to keep it the same. So 3 hours, I've got the same energy throughout, where somebody might go and talk for 20 minutes and then ride the rest of it out. And I've been guilty of that in my past VODs and stuff. And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I should be in bed by now. I'm probably not even going to sleep today. I'm going to have to, because I want to watch G2 live. I try to interact with the G2 fans. But, you know, I've also got to take this and edit it and upload it and promote it, this VOD. And so, and by the time I get this done, it's like the same problem I had when I was in a band. It's like you ride a high where you feel really rewarded, like after a show. And so like it's like I'm tired through the first part of it, and then I've got energy by the end. And so I try to save my energy though for the last game, because I feel like people that do this, like maybe they do great work on the first game and then they kind of get lazier the more games you go. It's kind of why I wanted to do G2 versus BDS, but I've just never had time for it, and because there was a lot of mistakes and I just don't have the time to go clean it up. But anyways, enough of me. I'm gonna go ahead and get game number 2 or game number 3 here. And there's I always try to keep up with the LCK every day, so I've got games I gotta watch from the LCK. There's LPL games. I didn't finish watching the LGD versus NIP yet, so I'm always watching all of these games and trying to stay on the meta and what's going on. And I've got a notebook here, like, you know, Longshim T1, Fox versus KDF, HLE. I took the notes even on stuff I don't do. I take notes on all the games. LGD versus NIP. I'm not lying to you. So to stay on the meta, like I said, I think like a LEC team, LCS team needs to hire somebody like me that's watching LPL, LCK, and trying to keep feeding them information of what's going on in those regions so they can keep on top of that meta and practice the LCK meta and the LPL meta for MSI and Worlds and EWC. But anyways, game number 3. And also, like, these kids here, by the time you get into the third game, they're more mistake prone. So, you know, they're going to make more mistakes the longer they play, the more games they play. But I'm trying, I want to do just as good work on VOD as on game 1 as I do game 3. You know, I'm hoping G2 win in 3 games, right? But instead of giving me 5, I have to dig through and clean up. I still owe them BDS. And my views, like the most views I got from Fnatic G2. So most my fans are LEC fans.
And it looks like that is correct. Kennen, to make sure that Permafrost is just kind of not going to happen.
So what's going on here? Let me look first at the draft page since I have that. So Genji draft Kennen, Sejuani, Corki, Lucian, Nami. I'm not a fan of the Lucian Nami. I'm not a fan of range supports. You take, if Beryl had just like Maokai and Nor can easily catch out Nami, or Smolder can probably easily catch out Nami and one-shot her, or 2 or 3 hits, and she's a goner. So first off, she's going to have to really work with Canyon to stay alive in this game. Beryl got his famous Ashe in Callista. I don't really know that much about Smolder. I've never played Smolder. I don't know what all he does. From what I understand, he has some type of execute on his Q or something after you get 250 stacks or 275 stacks. I don't really like stack champions. If that's the case, why don't you bring Nasus in and stack him up too? Which Bro did play Nasus not too long ago. Maybe they'll play something crazy tonight. Like, I'd like to finish this so I can watch Bro play Team 1. But you got the Cannon and the Gnar, and so matchup-wise, Keen's got a good matchup. So Piosek's going to have to do a lot of work up in the top lane to keep Gnar alive. It looks like Smolder is good into Corki, so Canyon's going to have to show up mid a good bit to help Chovy stay even in this lane. Lucian, these stats are skewed, and Nami seems like she's good into Ashe. So you're going to have to really protect the bottom side here to get him going for Pays and Callista. So junglers are going to have to show up bottom a lot to help the lanes.
What they could have really otherwise picked here that feels good. I mean, Yone top, you can't lock in.
Did I delete those? I deleted
really
that.
terrible.
I can refill it in while the casters talk here and see what they have to say.
Considering the Jace with Maokai, it's so incredibly strong, but want to have something a little bit beefier here in the top side. We have seen Cannons dominate this matchup.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a little bit concerning. We'll see if Keen can get it
So
done.
KT's worried about the Aurora, the Rumble. They're really worried about Keen into the perfect struggling into Keen, basically, is what I see going on based on the draft. Genji keep worrying about this Ivern from Pyosek. I don't know why. I don't think Ivern's that... He's easy to counter jungle. He can't take early objectives. You can exploit him by taking the dragon at like 5 minutes, avoid grubs. Around 6 minutes or so, like he needs Daisy for the void grubs, for the dragon. I think I hit my... I forgot to load this. This might be what was making it difficult when I was playing StarCraft. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're good. Sorry I have to keep bringing that up. I don't have a second monitor to drag that over and look at it. You could help support my channel if you would like, and we'll buy a second monitor, and I'm planning to, and then all this can be over here, and you don't see this screen at all. I feel like people get turned off by this screen. I do it for practice and to make sure my voice level's good.
Decent time into the Corki, and BDD has liked the champion in the past.
So Senna Ornn, still afraid of her.
Definitely some consideration to a Lucian mid here for BDD, who's like pretty good on that.
Hayes, it seemed like he struggled in this series against Deft and Beryl, which makes sense.
The Ezreal will get taken away. I do like that.
Zeri mid lane.
I think Pays is #1 is Ezreal.
Does he just pick his Lucian?
I think you pick Lucian. Like as I was alluding to just moments ago.
Oh no, why not Zeri, man? Pull out Zeri.
Zeri into Corki, Chovy's Corki might just be a bridge too far. Like I think that's a.
I meant like Pays pull out Zeri.
We'll see. I mean, it would be great for the composition. I do.
So another thing, I think
sentiment, but
Chovy has a ridiculous win rate on the Corki. We get Smolder. Smolder into Corki. Zero, there's no stats. Solo Q says it's like 100% win rate, but it's probably just a handful of games. So Genji, the rail worked out really well in the last game for KT. So they banned the Nautilus. Now we know we're getting Lucian Nami. I think this is like a joke draft from Genji just to see what they can get away from. I rarely see range supports work out for high-level LOL esports teams at the highest level, except Renata Glask is an exception and Lulu is an exception, but not like Lux, not Nami, not Janna.
here
not
for KT is
Soraka.
launch
They
with
can
flanks
get
and
caught
Dude
out too easily, and there's nothing they can do. They can get like
there's no great teleport
instantly
work
melted
in
down by a
the
LeBlanc
Okay.
or like a Corki.
So
Or
there's one player that's
I
allowed
guess
to play
one
cross
thing
court
is
and
if I was Gen G, I would ban
but
this
Beryl has done
Maokai
it,
from
in
Pyosek.
the past, but he's also played Ash, and he's got a decent skin on this champion as well. I believe it comes
So
from the World
the Ash
Championship
gets flexed.
2022, and so
The
we're gonna
Ash
see
is a
switch
counter to
on one
Ezreal.
side of the map, and that is a lot of
Callisto, we don't really know much about her on this
I really feel
patch.
like the Maokai holds this comp together so incredibly well because the
Going into the game.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
As Pyosek proudly wears the DRX skin. I'm sure that's an ego boost when you've got a skin that you worked on the team, even though that's not his skin. But he's basically got two jungle skins, right? He's got his Kindred, and then, was it Willer? That was the jungle. Willer kind of got screwed. So, man-to-man, Chovy has vision on Smolder. You got to keep, throughout the whole game, you're trying to keep vision on your enemy that you're playing against. Early ward from Deft. I'd say this is like 45 seconds. Kind of a cheeky thing of Pyosek and Barrel here. I'm guessing they're going to come over and get a ward. Again, Barrel's starting with the sweeper lens. He seems to do that every game. I like the double trinket ward because it's really easy to whiff with this sweeper lens and it does nothing for you. You have to know where the enemy ward is. See. Be nice if you could set that at default. I think they're worried about getting the Smolder going.
Smolder mid lane.
You gotta get Smolder his stacks so he can execute and then close out the game.
So it's going to be a little bit different.
I guess the Ashe too, you have the Hawk Shot you can use, or you can use her W to disengage.
Played alongside things like Callisto and
I like Ashe, she's one of my favorite champions in the game, even though I don't pick favorites.
As pays with an Ardent Blaze into
So there's the whiff from Barrel.
The
Barrel does have Hawk Shot.
So you have like the winning bottom lane, the scaling mid. Now you have the extreme winning bottom lane.
And it looks like Canyon just stands there. He doesn't even do anything. So,
now you have the
great work from teamwork from KT here to get an early ward. Maybe it should have been a little bit deeper. I think Deft got his down here. So great work from KT to get deep vision and Jin's bottom jungle. Early information on Canyon. Like Canyon's kind of a farm heavy jungler where Pyosek doesn't really care. He'll make plays if he has gold or doesn't have gold.
extreme winning bottom lane, which they're
You got to work together with your support if you're a jungler, which you see right now. Jungler.
So if Keen does find that flank angle, if they're not able to stop him, or if he just has the ability to walk into the front of the team.
Now it looks like Perfect knows that Genji's doing the same thing to him in their topside jungle. So So I guess it would be like Genji answer the call. Man. I don't know, I start getting tired and computers just irritate me after a while. That's why I gotta take my breaks.
Team fight after the Maokai ultimate is down can be a big issue as we are lane swapping.
Yeah, and I believe
We got a lane swap going on.
Yeah, he's going to get spotted. So they know that.
So Genji decide to lane swap here.
The lane swap is coming in.
Lucian is good into Callista at least a couple patches ago.
And Deft and Barrel.
So bad matchup for Ashe. Or
Let's see how Perfect handles this as well, because a lot of this is
the
gonna
pays, I
be on him.
mean, I guess that's why he had to wait. What did the stats say again? Lucian wins. Yeah, so bad matchup for Deft. What was the cannon? 64%. I don't know why they lane swapped Genji. Maybe they're practicing the lane swap.
We'll get less plate gold because of the lane swap protection.
Yep.
And Callista Ashe can really put the pressure on this cannon. It's going to be hard for him to get XP. He's trying.
Yeah, trying to get into position for it. As Kane will just get bullied away.
Picks up some XP.
Looked like Genji were the ones that initiated the lane swap. So again, maybe Genji's practicing something here with the lane swaps.
Is an odd move. Not exactly a
I'm
favorite.
glad to see the lane
And
swaps come
this
back
will
into League of
isolate the lane
Legends.
just a little bit.
Mix
And
things up.
Solidity probably pretty happy with that right now, with a lot of pushing power in this mid lane. Smolder has gone through a bunch of different changes.
It's a nice deep ward
Doesn't
that
necessarily scale
KT
as
have
hard as
right
he used
there.
to, as Death, not going to take any turret aggro.
So
He's
Cannon's
gonna
gonna
fight
get
a mid.
dove.
He's only level 2. Is now they're looking for the dive onto Kane. He's only level 1 though. That is going to be
And he
first blood
loses
going
his
over
flash
the
as
Ozil.
well.
A
So
beautiful
this is
dive.
where
Like,
like you come back and make another play on him again because his flash is down.
You're not allowed to farm experience as the lane swapped top laner.
And so Corky or Chovy's having a tough time in this matchup. Usually Chovy's the one bullying.
We also learned at EWC.
That may be another reason for the lane swap. They know Chovy's gonna have a tough time,
Keen not getting money is a huge problem for this cannon, which is such a huge part of their composition.
so they can help
And they're not getting as much
pressure
gold
mid
for
more
Keen
often.
at all because they're going to swap back. So Deft and Barrel get split plate gold here off of the first plate. Likely will get the second. See if Lehens or Pays.
Maybe they're worried about the Void Grubs.
For a moment.
Maybe Smolder's really strong in the mid lane matchup with Void Grubs. I think that's another reason why we see the AD mids too, is the Void Grubs to help push turrets down. So Genji get Perfect's flash right here. He gets punished.
One avoids avoids the aqua prison, but isn't going to be able to avoid death as the heal comes through to keep Lehens alive. They waste a
As Canyon's getting the Scuttle Crab and Piosek's getting a little bit behind. Piosek's a good bit behind in farm.
Silly top laners think they could play the game.
He's just now getting his blue buff. It's kind of amazing that his blue buff didn't get stolen.
Man, it's a lane swap. You're not allowed. He does get some significant experience here. Unfortunately, isn't able
So
to.
nothing really amazing there.
Some credit because the assumption is Pays and Lehens have backed. He waits for a really long time. The hawk shot also doesn't see. Oh, saw the edge.
That's a cool. I didn't know that graphic showed the trophy when it
He
landed.
just wasn't looking, and even still.
So
Oh man,
this is.
heartbreaking because he knew.
I'm stuck in a replay. No wonder.
Picked up two Deft and Barrel. They got first blood as well. Unfortunately, goes to a Maokai, whereas Pays gets the kill there. So
Chovy's even now. Well, this is the first Smolder mid. Now I've seen. Is it Reptile? Somebody I follow on Twitter, and Karai, who seems like a really good coach. That's younger. That's been challenger since season 3, every season in Europe. Seems like a good guy, a person that I like is Gamer Dad. I've seen that he was on Gamer Dad's content. Some people I would like to work with. And I've seen he was talking about Smolder was OP'd top and mid. And here we go, we're finally seeing this.
Carry position, it was played in top lane, wasn't played in mid until now.
I don't know, maybe it's something KT's been holding on to for quite a while.
Very risky into Corki, but with the lane swap coming through, it actually kind of gave BDD at least a little bit of a leash early.
But now you'll probably get
is being put on him.
Chovy practicing it and playing it.
He has to try to get those stacks on the minions. Will take his first back now, or actually won't.
So I really don't know why the lane swap like that, and then they go back to the normal laning.
So that'll get a little bit of health back into the Gnar.
Must have been to help get Gnar behind.
Canyon moving in. KT not
Even
gonna get
though
caught by the
Keen
Aqua
should be
Prison.
good
Now
into
Bell gonna have to
Gnar.
Needs to respect them. Gets out of there, and that is a lot of extra pressure relieved on this bottom side, and they're going to have to continue to be careful.
Genji was
with
trying to
Canyon
dive, but
still prowling.
The really big problem
nothing
for Perfect
successful
is if he doesn't
there.
die there, then he's feeling
Pretty
really
easy
good,
to
right?
punish the Nami
He
though,
died for
and
experience.
Lehens is
And
bad
it
about getting
well
caught out,
because he
so
actually
Nami's
has
not a
the
very
lead,
good
he has that
champion for Lehens.
experience. It is a matchup that
Nautilus
can be
works
favorable
out very well for him because he's got the Q to save him and get him away.
Starts to stack up a lot, so
Lehens is
Perfect falling a little bit far behind here in CS. It's a very low
prone to
top lane, obviously with the lane swap, but still
being in the wrong place at the right time for the enemies.
and a lot of control, in fact, for Pace.
So hopefully KT come down here and take the dragon. Genji start the dragon.
It's not going to be a cross-map dragon opportunity for Pioshik just yet. He doesn't have 6 either.
Maybe they want this for the Corki as well, and the Smolder it's going to help. I don't know how the Void Grubs work with the AP champions if they help.
Mid lane avoids the rocket and actually wins out on the trade.
Crazy.
Yeah. News, to be honest.
A lot of the
I would say they
players
help the
want to try
AD
to
champions
pressure him
more
and put him low,
because your
but you also want to deny
your
him
auto's
stacks.
doing
He's
turret
stacking
damage.
Basically melee range of BDD, so he's just going to keep stacking even off of Chovy with the Achu. So some stack value here. Another Achu landing.
Yeah, just
And
Piosekh
had to catch up to Canyon a little bit, so he's behind.
Just not expecting. I mean, I know that Corki was a little bit nerfed, you know, like health values and things like that going down, but
I think if Genji really wanted to, though, they could like start at the dragon and then fight up the Void Grubs. But these teams are not into playoffs yet. They're kind of testing things out.
Aggressively trade to play the matchup, so he just puts himself in range and does a little bit of damage, but does a lot of stacking. Just one every time, and Chovy will end up.
So Smolder's got a phage. I don't really know the itemization. It looked weird for Smolder. What I saw, it was on
losing lane super hard. He's just not getting the
Chirelia's.
or want with this Corki.
And it's also
Had
just
some
the
weird
fact that
items.
Smolder scales ridiculously well. That's sort of what he does.
I don't think that's what we saw.
And
BDD
so BDD just getting
uses
through this
items
lane.
though. I mean, let me look it up. That's not what I wanted. Bottom, middle, and top. I was gonna say I thought it was Spear of Shojin that he takes. I like to look at these players, like the master players that aren't pro on the Korean ladder that only play certain. They play weird stuff. Zanya's, Jack Show. I saw Raptor have a crazy game against KDF with Xin Zhao. Like, Xin Zhao might be really strong right now. I know I've seen him on Lawlytics. Where's the Xin Zhao master? 50% win rate. Why is he taking Ignite? Well, he's playing Xin Zhao mid. I've played some Xin Zhao top back in the day. I like Xin Zhao. He just gets boring after a while, but fun to play.
The positive thing here for KT.
In short bursts, not like every game. It's easy to me. So if you want an easy jungle champion to win with, play Xin Zhao. It's pretty straightforward.
Exactly the same time. The Nature's Grasp going to be absolutely massive, and I do think that, I mean,
just looking at the wardings, because the Lucian Nami is getting up to an area where
support Ashe has Kalista and Ashe together.
The Lucian Nami are allowed to overextend and pressure here because they have Sejuani right here. And I would say Lehens is going to come up here and clear vision, but that's why they can pressure. Can't wait to finish this and make some really good food. Why is that?
Haven't really worked recently. I think support Ashe has sort of been toned down.
Not really much going on. Dragon in 3 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, you know, there's only one Halo Blades in here. The Callisto not going to...
I don't think KT want Gen G getting another set of Void Grubs. Oh, we're getting diving. That's what I thought was going on there. Planning a dive. Canyon was probably... I didn't look at the levels back then, but he's might have been 5, getting 6. So they're... But one thing that they didn't pay attention to was Deft was level 6 and had his ult to save Barrel's life.
He is seen. Glacial Prison is going to go down as Fate's Call will be claimed. Barrel looks for the knockup onto Canyon, doesn't find it, but that is just an
so that costs Lehens his heal right there. Jovi's teleport is down. 2 minutes for Void Grubs, 3 minutes and 30 seconds for Dragon. I don't really care or worry about what Dragon it is. They're all have good gifts on them, so there's not like one that's game changing or not. Not a fan of the Hex Tech, just because of the gates. I think it makes players lazy. It's like players in WoW and EverQuest and MMORPGs that, well, they gotta have a mount because you don't run fast enough. So they gotta, like, they get too lazy to walk a character somewhere where you're not doing anything. You're not getting off your butt and walking physically. So
much more.
That's how lazy kids are getting.
I think that's why Keen used that. He was up against the wall.
They need to slow down.
Gives away what might have been happening as the arrow, the flash comes through, but the arrow
So,
is still going to land now.
Barrel hits amazing, and this is why I don't like.
Will pick that one up. Bit of a weird.
This is why I don't like the Nami and the range supports, except like Renata Glask has. I mean, I don't think he had a chance to turn around, and those roots are cool looking. They look like wolves. But Nami has no chance, and Nami's just going to get taken down like this over and over and over. But there's nothing she can do here. She's just barely out of position, and like why I don't like Exceptions, Renata Glask, and who was the other one? Lulu. Like punished for oh, what do you mean? I don't mean Deft, I meant Pays. Lehens and Deft never played together. That'd be cool. But I think Deft and Barrel are really good.
Going to connect. I think this is another kill, and Deft will pick that one up. Bit of a weird flash there. Rare miss from Lehens to just simply flash the same trajectory as the arrow, meaning that he just gets hit by it anyways.
I've always thought Deft might, if there's a flaw in Deft, he's too quiet.
A little bit perpendicular, I think, if you're going to get out of that one. It would have been tougher, obviously, because you don't get the same distance away from that chasing bottom duo. But
So looking at the levels, Smolder is a level behind Corky. Other than that,
arrow, you're dead 100% with no cleanse there on the Nami, of course.
so Lehens is just like barely out of position with Pays.
Potentially try to deny the ward clear. Very greedy, and then he flashes, same trajectory. Pioshik's here to follow up.
Nami's just too easy to kill.
Still, a bit of a weird look from Lehens there to mess that one up.
Yeah,
Maybe until she gets like an Imperial mandate, but even then, that makes her a little bit tanky. I don't know what Smolder's doing there. He's maybe getting a red buff. Let's see. Dragon in a minute, or the Void Grub's about to spawn. The overlay gets in my way. Void Grub's in 5 seconds. I would say that's some of the reasoning on the lane swap as well. So KT can get these second round of Void Grubs. I'm guessing that's another reason the Void Grubs are so strong and why you see all the AD champions mid, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, you got 4 AD champions on KT. So maybe Genji should have built some armor in this game. I think this was a game where I would have liked to seen Keen go Zanya's, and he went Hex Tech Rocket Belt, which we saw Zeus use that the other day twice, even though he lost. It's like he was limit testing or was trying to see what the difference with the 100 HP was on the buff.
Arguably, I think that's not a great trade here because of
looks like Maokai is going his Warmog second. He learned in the first game that it's better than the Randuin's. Hayes is on his static Shiv already, which I think is getting nerfed. It's too strong and too cheap. Too strong for its value. Dragon in 19 seconds. I think KT also got the Void Grubs. Looks like they're going to get the Dragon as well. Chovy's just had a really bad game. It's like he overlooked Beryl and
again,
BDD and
but Sodaron's
Pyosek.
placement, like he gets forced to the flash, right?
Their
And this
world,
one is just great
except
positioning to make sure
not
that here they
BDD,
can
but
guarantee that objective and they
you know,
turn this
Beryl, Deft, Pyosek, they're world champions. Chovy isn't. You know, Chovy's had just as many chances to win worlds as Beryl and Deft
to an opportunity when
and
Chovy is greedy
Pyosek.
for the
I like to rub that one into Pyosek.
board. Beryl just right time, right place, 100% KP in this early game.
Yeah, making it work. And
He
this
may
is
not
one
be
of
an
the things that is
awesome.
the most
I've seen him make ridiculous stuff. When I first saw him come into the scene, before he was on, it was on DRX, because I saw Carrier play with Deft on stream before he joined DRX, so I saw him streaming with Carrier to get him acclimated with Deft and the laning, and then I saw Pyosek as well, and he was like a Lee Sin one trick at the time.
eclectic, the most
And he was doing a weird build where he went Tiamat,
and Beryl just demonstrating.
but
Yeah, I got the skin on the champ.
usually
Yeah,
have a
very
lot
good.
of kills.
Chovy does.
The only problem with him is I've never seen him like high challenger, but I'm not one that values rank either.
A lot of work.
Just because somebody's
BDD
ranked
does still have
higher than me doesn't mean they're a better player than me. They might be mechanically because they've had more practice, but they may be really dumb compared to me, and I might be able to outplay them around the map and play safe and work with my team. Like, I've always valued team play over solo mechanical outplays. I mean, you can do that.
Not finding the volley. He can play aggressively even though he does have low health. There is a Fate's Call up and available.
So we're getting a fight over the dragon. Smolder's teleporting in. Perfect has his teleport up. Keen has his teleport. I think he might need Zonya's first in this because there's so many AD champions.
Pressure is mounting. We'll be in this bottom lane.
I don't think the power of, like, we've seen Naguri used to play Kennen where he would get like 4 or 5 items, like stack AP items, and then get into the back line of a team and ult and do all this damage, and that worked for him, but that's not really the way to play. Like, I think the power of Kennen, it's not so much the damage he does, it's just the stun and lockdown it has in an area, and then your team can come in and make plays.
Sends another minion wave their way, and more plates likely to fall down here as 3 grubs for both teams. Keen is the one hitting it.
Naguri was kind of a troll.
Out of that one.
This dragon is really tough for either team to take. Smolder not having control, but bottom side the control goes to Deft and Beryl. And so Chovy doesn't come over here. You know, it's really
I said, I remember on my stream, I was watching him when he was on FPX, and he would play so many solo queue games when he was in China that he would be having the Korean solo queue up and the Chinese solo queue up too, and then play either one, wherever one he could find a game faster.
At this point in time, we are going to have a look at things from KT's perspective.
And he played all these games of Lee Sin top.
It's Ocean again.
So there, Lehentz has his Imperial Mandate now, so he's a little bit tankier. But good thing Deft had a cleanse.
The arrow will connect. Deft gets the shield. He is going to go down, but will they be able to trade it? But Pays here is a teleport.
I don't know, Pays may have went a little bit too far right here.
Is, you know, really horrible here for KT considering the advantage they had. Worst case scenario basically is, oh,
yeah, that's a pretty nice captain.
So Pays gets greedy.
The arrow will connect. Deft gets the shield. He is going to go down.
think he's gonna get taken down. I could be wrong. I just thought I'm not making many slides in this game, so I better make some slides. Asian teams are all about him. So teleport's coming in from Gnar. Hayes is a goner. Lehens is going to be a goner. KT's got the 2 dragons.
Yeah, they will.
So Rift Herald and Rift Herald's live. Looks like Canyon just backed. Got a Giant's belt. Has his Zeke's convergence. So and now Maokai's backing. Keen. Oh no, that's Corki that's teleporting bottom. Again, you don't want to waste waves. That's one reason why Corki did that teleport. Here's going to be a missing wave that Gen G's going to miss because they're late.
And these barrel arrows have just been so fantastic.
So that's one wave, for example. Pays just missed. Again, if you're a bottom laner and you lose lane, or if you win lane and lose the game and don't understand why, chances are you need to learn that at 15 minutes into the game, you need to be mid lane. And your mid laner goes bottom like you see Corki. Might be some of the reason the early swap here. Well, no, they got the turret. Like, as soon as your first turret's down, like you see in this game, you want to be mid lane then, and then your supports and junglers and laners can protect you, because you can't see, like, if you're winning lane but you start getting up here and trying to take this turret out, if you're Pays, for example, or Corki, but we're talking about the AD, but if you start coming up here, well, you're going through all this enemy jungle without any vision, and so you're going to get collapsed on by the enemy and you're going to die. And that's why you lose the game. You win the lane, but you lose the game. That's why. You need to start going to the mid lane after you get your first turret down. So Pays' cleanse is down, his flash is down, Corki's teleport's down, and he's clear. See, Corki's putting all this pressure here because he knows the Rift Herald's going on, and he wants KT to back off here and kill him. But it's like a free turret and waves for him, so he's collecting all these waves, stacking the Manamune, but Callista KT get the Rift Herald. Notice how Corki's backing off now. He knows that he's been there long enough. That was more of a disengage. See, it might be a little greedy. Chovy's trying to take it, but he knew better.
Just nowhere in sight now. He's going to be able to go back home with so much more money.
I really like the call from Chovy, even without the teleport there, to say, well, if I get this inner, what do you guys get with the Herald will be...
Hayes is on his 2 items already at 2 minutes, or at 2 minutes, before 20 minutes. You're trying to hit 200 CS at 20 minutes.
But KT don't team fight, and they don't have the opportunity to lose a fight. There's no angle for Chovy to carry.
You're trying to hit solo queue players out there. You don't know what to do. You're trying to hit 100 CS at 10 minutes.
Thinking about the scaling of the smolder, which has kind of been the main topic of conversation here, then I guess it's in some ways...
You're trying to hit 200 CS at 20 minutes. That's what you need to be working on right now if you want to get to the next level with Sodaron. Chovy's almost there. BDD's going to probably be a little bit behind. Gnar has a lot of work to do. Keen's got a lot of work to do. Pays is where he should be, 170 CS. Corki's ahead. Callista's a little bit behind. Maokai's got a lot of farm in this game. I mean, Canyon's kind of struggling in this game. Usually he's ahead in farm. It may be because Barrel's been doing a lot of roaming and going through the jungle and helping Pyosec. So Lehens really needs to work more with
if they do want to
Canyon and get some more synergy, because we're seeing it in this game between Pyosec and Barrel. May cost Gen.G later on at Worlds and later on down the road.
I think you're absolutely right. They are going to do exactly that. There's a flash forward though. The slicing
If I would say that I see anything wrong with Gen.G, that's some of it right there.
Going to be shielded up as Pyosik tanks as much of the culling as possible. And that is just Keen dead.
Perfect is still in the side.
So what happened?
They're gonna pick with
Keen
the
died.
you know, and it's a great
He's got the
play
rocket
from
belt.
Pyosik
I would
there.
hope that he goes Zanya's next. Needs the armor for one.
He's starting to get mad. He's starting to realize his power. And this dragon might be able to do it as the Rift Herald comes down in the mid lane, and KT, they'll claim a gold lead once again or get very close. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, the timing of this works so incredibly well. Macro-wise here, by KT, they were like, all right, cool, Gen.G, you can have an Ocean, and Gen.G realized we need to get more than this Ocean.
Barrel's having a really good game. He's on his, what's it called, Umbral Glaive.
KT, but good enough to slow it down, and without a Herald, Gen.G just can't actually force this turret down. I mean, look at Barrel just helping.
So there's a lot of AD damage where you think that Corki can't really build armor, and Lucian can't really build armor, but you could build Zanya's that has some armor. One for Keen starting out thinking already, because you got all this AD damage from KT. Pyosec on his Warmogs and Iron Locket of Solari. Does he have it already? When is the execute? 175? So he has the execute?
The way they've been playing this out so far makes you want to trust.
I agree. There is no exhaust for Kennen. So
yeah, that's an issue.
Being able to make Kennen sleepy while he goes in with his big electric.
I guess you have the Ashe volley that will help slow and lock down Kennen. So I'd say like the Ashe might be good into Kennen. Let me look. Thinking about it, like it would help keep Kennen at bay. That might be one reason you don't have the exhaust. You don't need it with the Ashe. 50%. I guess I need to get Ivern and play him in solo queue.
Hayes gets sneezed on and it hurts him so much as BDD throwing out these Qs, and man, now that evolution has come in, that the big one giving it that splash damage, and it'll only get worse as this game goes.
Guess Gen.G's trying to do some type of dive here.
So fast here. BDD gets low. Yeah.
There's the rocket belt and the flash from Keen, but he also needs some type of armor to survive.
It's a 1-for-1, but a turret as well for Gen.G. They're trading up.
Yeah, they are trading up. This does mean he's scared when they zoom on Pays like this. He is going to get the proc of the static shiv to stop some back.
So Gen.G gets ahead. They're at 38k, so they're ahead by 2k gold here. Kennen's on his 2 items now. Hopefully he goes Zanya's third. I think he needs the armor, the disengage, or the Zanya's proc. I just really value the Zanya's proc with the Kennen ult. That you can ult while Zanyaing and you don't take any damage.
But he's probably going to go straight to the side, and we'll just soak up whatever minions he can.
Nar's doing a good job staying even in CS.
This is a very...
So Pyosec has to back. I was going to say he has to back off, but he didn't. His wolf got that last hit. One reason I would say, too, that Gen.G engage here is Gnar is very far away from getting a Gnar, Mega Gnar, and ulting, so he can't really do anything. That's kind of the problem with Gnar, is you have to rely on his Mega Gnar and the Gnar bar being built up. So there's nothing Gnar's gonna do here.
to
just really
sacrifice his
squishy.
life for this play, because finally it means
So it was
guaranteed
basically a
loot
4
scores
versus
down,
5.
which means a lot more pressure on the map. You can collapse onto this smolder and sides a lot easier. If he's just going to sit in mid, he's going to be very vulnerable there. It's not easy for him to farm those final stacks, and even though he will hit it, he's not going to necessarily get as much safe farm.
A lot of vision. A lot of control wards here on KT. Where Chovy's not buying any. Lucian's not buying any.
As he would like to continue to stack it up and become stronger when we get
At this
towards
point in the game, I'd almost value a control ward over a dagger.
late game. So I think a valuable call there. You pointed it out right before they're
Beginning of the VOD,
for this cannon.
vision's the most
So I was
important
talking
thing in the
about how
game.
they need to watch their flanks, see if they can deny wards.
Most
Setting
important
up
stat
the
is
lens just dropped here.
vision on the enemy. You have to scout your enemy out and plan your attacks before you make them. You don't just randomly go into places think you can survive. So Def's gonna get a blue buff. Dragon is up in a minute.
But without the Maokai, just so tough.
It really is. I do think that Beryl is going to either have to throw an arrow at Keen to stop him, but one of the big things is that if KT are able to take fights on their terms, they can fight around.
BDD can get punished because he doesn't have a flash right here. He's flashless. And catching a wave where it's almost in a bad spot. It's like at the line that I talk about.
Around Meganar. Meganar is phenomenal.
So his flash is down. So if you're Gen G, that's who you're going to try to catch out is the Smolder.
Things like the dash cannon to try and mitigate it as
I don't know what the stack number it is for the execute.
209 stacks now. 225, remember guys, that's what we're looking out for. We're ticking over to
225, so
Things have kind of slowed down.
I'm guessing like the way the comp works for Smolder is they're just kind of farming out here. Gnar might get caught out.
Perfect. This could be an overextension. The rest of his teammates are coming down. That's a teleport to come in. Is now slicing Maelstrom onto the Gnar, and I think he is just dead. Does Flash.
Flash saved his life. Good dodge from Canyon. So another fight where Gnar doesn't do anything, gets caught out that time. But I guess they're waiting on the Smolder to get his stacks for the execute. That's basically what KT's doing. Smolder's behind. You know, the Corki. Corki's on his 2 items and fully stacked, or 2.5 items, the Zeal and then the Dagger, where Smolder's just on the Trinity Force and the Caulfields. It looks like you go Shojin next.
It's not the end of the world, but it is
So
a huge loss here in pulling the pressure.
KT's going to lose the Dragon over to Genji, so it's going to put them another 5 minutes behind, where they could perhaps close it out in 30 minutes.
Off this back, I think he might be going for the Shojin back right now. You were alluding to again. Second
Def's on his 2 items, but Pays is on 3 items.
Against the Smolder poke, but I don't feel like Genji are gonna feel amazing with this one. It's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, the big thing that I'm worried about for KT is the fact that Pays, yes, he's got some free.
One of the values of the Maokai is the sapling that lets you get free vision.
Coming in like we used to talk about.
It was the TP that tipped him off. You could see here in the replay.
I guess Chovy didn't even need to teleport there.
And you know, Canyon's ult doesn't land.
He did an awesome job of dodging the Sejuani ult.
So good move there by Canyon.
That's going to buy a little bit of space here for Genji, who now move towards a 3,000 gold lead. 227. There it is.
Looks like they're... So here we go. He's got his full stacks for the Super Scorcher Breath additional effect. Percent match. All it does true damage. It executes enemies below 6% health. Yeah, that's kind of some crazy power there when you can execute. Like maybe they should do away with the Dragon Soul execute then. We got Smolder that has the execute.
Is the big spike.
So that's very OP, I think.
25 minutes if you don't have it there, then it is getting to the point
giving a champion some type of execute. I just think that's OP.
Does that look like an old Corki rocket?
Yeah, that's like an old Ludens
Not really a
rocket.
fan of that.
It's a bit silly. Chovy with 3 items now completed. Fioshik going to blast cone his way out of here back into the fog of war.
Kane's flank.
Yeah, looking for that angle. BDD will be able to spot him. He can fly over walls as well. Actually kind of an optimal Baron pit as well.
So who am I looking at here? Is that that's Maokai that gets bursted down like that, but he's got the Warmogs, so it's gonna help heal him up and help him really survive. Let's see what's Chovy's flash is down. Cannon just used his ult. Keen's not gonna have his flash for some type of ult engage. It may hurt him. Does have the belt. Maokai's ult is down.
Baron hit as well.
So Pyosik survives. Warmogs probably helps him here. And he gets his ultimate off to disengage. I guess KT weren't really ready or in position yet. I think they're also worried about this Kennen over here. And again, I think like the Ashes arrows are going to have to work to keep Kennen away.
Wave does come in there as well as Depth is flashing away. Mom comes down. Does a lot of damage. The BDD not quite.
So I don't think KT are really wanting to. Maybe they're ready to execute the Smolder, but what's the gold? Yeah, Gen.G have a pretty good gold lead. I was gonna say I don't think they can straight up win a team fight. KT, and they got to worry about the Kennen getting into the back line. So the route from Pyosek, the arrows from Barrel, they're gonna have to keep Kennen locked down in that.
As Gen.G are regrouping, Depth down to about 50%. That's not great. Barrel taking some poke damage as well. Ian's flash is coming back very soon.
There he finally got Mega Gnar. You also got to worry about Gnar getting built up.
So he is going to transform, and now BDD looking for that. Sorry, Keen looking for the angle. And KT, I think, realizing.
So that may give the Baron over to Gen.G.
The Mega Gnar transform.
You can see how on a knife's edge these neutral fights are for these objectives because Gen.G really respecting BDD's.
I don't know why Gen.G aren't just going for the Baron. They got plenty of time to burn it down.
Threat keeps KT at bay, and you know the fact that this.
Plus they're worried about like Smolder coming in, and if they get low health, just executing them. Maybe that's some of the reason they're worrying about the Smolder.
Winning that neutral means
with the execute.
Start the Baron, but they will get some vision here. And like you said, fighting with the Gnar without the Gnar bar set.
So I guess all the teams are going back to get wards and recall and heal.
Yeah, he wants to find.
It's not really anything going on.
He's lurking. He's doing.
Also, with the dash cannon, can close the gap into this comp a little bit about the Void Staff or Crypt Bloom, whatever he opts into.
Getting the red buff.
In a moment. All of these
yes, on Callista here.
Are so important.
Oh no, Def, don't do it. Okay, he walks back. No, Def, don't do it. Okay, the cannon's not here.
The cannon's not there, but consider
got
that. You know,
2 minutes for the dragon. Oh, their Pays gets caught out by Maokai.
He wants to find an angle. There's the Nature's Grasp. Mom comes down, doesn't do it.
Now Pays has cleanse,
A
so
whole lot as the Glacial Prison is a fadeaway, but Def is going to pick Barrel up. And Barrel wants to find Canyon. Arrow now down. Fate's Call now down. And there is no Nature's
got Cannon coming into the back line here. I don't think he's going to do anything. Unless he's going to flash ult into all of them. Smolder's up top just farming away. I think Kennen needed Zonya's there to survive. Ballista's having to go back and heal. Gnar's having to go back and heal. He does have teleport though.
That meant that he had to really hard force there if he wanted to get the engagement. Perhaps just don't hard force. Just take your W in terms of positioning on Baron. Now he's down flash and ultimate here, as well as his
don't think Gen.G can take the Baron without Kennen.
Level 16 here. Look at the damage.
Yeah.
You feel the desperation out of Gen.G and Keen in that failed play, as they feel like
might need to start taking the Baron if you're KT to get the Mega Gnar build up.
There is a Canyon alive. Trophy down to about 50% here as there are volleys flying in. Pays looking for some of that poke damage, and so
Guess the only thing about the Ashe in the Sejuani is Sejuani counters the W.
These rockets starting to hurt.
So Maokai gets the Baron.
Goes to KT and they'll exit. Stay
Might have been different if that wall, that opening pit wasn't there like they added this season. It might have been a completely different outcome for KT. But that's in the season last year. This is this year's season. So now the Dragon's live. Should be able to burn this down quick enough that it'll be gone by the time KT get down here. Yep. That's why you can't lag in your decisions. You have to, like when you're in solo queue, you have to just like mark a target and go for it. Because you've got enough time, you can burn things down, but when you're sitting there arguing with people in solo queue, let's take the dragon, no, let's not. It's frustrating.
Yeah, as well. Not officially accepted in the lore. It is his father, but
he's probably gonna kill it. Big fan. So
Maybe he's testing the 100 HP buff on the rocket belt.
Yeah, that would certainly be that. So we're not going to allude to that one.
Hey, we didn't have to explain that replay because we talked about it before. Ult here.
Smolder just used his ult. Meganar.
And that is just cat food. The Nami's not doing it this time around as Keen's going to get breathed on. BDD not touched in this fight. And KT, they wipe down 3.
So unfortunately, Deft and Perfect die, or KT probably could have closed out the game and won right there.
It's not over until it's over.
So they're getting all of Jin G's buffs, so that's another good thing that KT are getting ahead. 2k gold ahead now.
When you're fighting and skirmishing like this. So we come out of that replay, and then the siege up here is great for KT.
Let's see what Canyon ulted.
So we come out of that replay. Then it's really easy to stack.
He already used his ult. Oh no, he hasn't.
So we come out of that replay, and then the siege up here.
Okay, so he ults Maokai.
Is great for KT. Like the ultimate from Pyoshik comes through, and he's not the target you want.
And KT had Meganar there for once. I've yet to see Meganar in a fight. Like every fight's been perfect off to the side without Meganar.
The target selection a little off here. I feel like the follow-up was clean, right? The damage was layered in. They were ready to jump when he pushed that ult button, but it hit the Maokai, who then just ults in reverse, and they're all in range.
There, Keen's got his Void Staff. And, he's just trying to be like Nuggery and get 6 items and get into the back line and ult and just take out all of KT, I guess is what he's trying to do. I would rather see his Anya second. Got all these AD champions. But again, I think he knows better. Like, he may not, maybe, but maybe they're testing out the limits on things, see what they can get away with.
That may matter.
Yeah, so it's not quite a package, but it feels like, you know, Amazon finally delivered on that one.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, Mom comes down, split.
So, waste of the Smolder ult did nothing.
Another ultimate going to be traded here, but the inner turret is going to fall down, and it is incidental cues from BDD, getting Lehens completely out of there.
Well, that's the other thing, like, yeah, Smolder's probably gonna, like, melt Nami. But she's gonna have about 1 second in every team fight before she's dead. So teams are just, like, backing, pushing out the waves.
Walked into today feeling like, oh man, KT's not in form. It's going to be a relatively easy one. You kind of go fast and loose with your drafts, but then,
you know, Corky went up to collect this wave. Nar's going to come down here where the waves crash. It's usually about at the spot where the turrets were at. Right there. And basically you hang out in these brushes and wait for the waves to meet each other. Then you come back into the lane. I've talked about this before, how to side lane. But like, you come down here where the waves hit each other and you wait in the brushes so the enemy doesn't know where you are, and then you show up to collect them, and then you leave so they don't know if you recalled or where you went. And that really makes people angry in solo queue, because people, like in solo queue, chase for a free kill somewhere. So it causes confusion in the enemy team. They don't know where to go, and then they're mad at each other.
They get into the choke point. They all stand behind Canyon, and he is delivered. The execution
I don't know who got caught out there. Piasek. Like I said, the Maokai ult's funny to me because it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon or an old cartoon where a train's coming at like Wile E. Coyote while he's on the railroad track, and he's just staring at it. It has like 10 seconds while it's coming at him, and he just stares at it instead of jumping off the track.
The canyon and the arrow connecting. They had the
But who gets caught?
Qs are just burning them down. This is
Oh, the Ash arrow.
They had to eat the McHale's onto Canyon, and Pay's in trouble.
Whiff from the Gnar ult.
That wallop, but we might be able to find an ulti here as they get into the choke point. They all stand
Maokai
up.
ult finally gets them, and they've used their cleanse and their flashes.
From BDD, and that will take down the Sejuani, and King
Dragon in 20 seconds or Baron. KT's got to keep Genji from getting the Dragon here, so even if they lose the Baron, it's better off for them to get the Dragon as they're going for the Dragon. There's nothing Genji can do. Looks like Corky's going up there to take out some vision and prep for the Baron. Miss of the Ash ult. Notice how Barrel, Deft, and Piasek are always like grouped up with each other. So there's some type of synergy here.
Small window here, but Canyon doesn't. He's not in the vicinity. He can't hex tech gate over here. He's gonna have to rush over Keen. Also, no real good teleport ward from to flank with.
Yeah, BDD doing a fair bit.
I didn't like the way Team Liquid treated Piasek.
This guy, he's now got a Vamp Scepter on top of all of those other items.
He's got the
He's
Randuins.
getting his ult back. That window they had is now closing.
Yeah, and he's also
So Pays is on 4 items.
and the Randuins, both back off
Def's
cooldown
lost a
now.
lot of
And it's not over yet,
waves in
ladies
this
and gentlemen.
game,
It might
but he's
look
been
like
running
KT has
around
been in
with
control.
Barrel and
KT's superpower is
and
at any
Piasek
stage,
a lot,
any game
so
ever,
he's
they
down
can
an
win
item.
or lose.
At any moment in your
He
mind,
might be giving the
you
farm to
understand
BDD. He's
where
on 1,
KT
2,
is
3. He's on
wrong.
4 items.
So we don't want to make any
Chovy's
judgments at
on
this stage,
4.5.
because that would
Even the
actually be
Vampiric
tempering of the
Scepter.
game.
And precisely, and we have to be very careful with how we think as well, Wolf, because it can be biased either for Genji or for KT, and this is a lot of responsibility.
Good job for Lehens. I'm big on the Oblivion Orb.
Himself. The Nature's Grasp comes down, Mom gets mad at Lehens, and he also takes a pierce here from Deft as well, but doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, not ideal here for KT. Those are some of their best tools, actually, just tossed into the bin. Genji handled it well. Canyon goes
Guessing
in.
KT's getting ready for Baron because we've also got Gnar up here up top. Oh, and here comes a teleport. He's also Mega Gnar. Now he's not. It's a little late on perfect.
No health bar. Lehens, he has to go back. The base might be broken right here.
I mean, it looks very likely. Baron is up, but KT have their eyes on this inhibitor without it. And with Canyon, no ult, no way to punish. Keen, he's got flash and ult. Maybe
Come on, Barrel, get in there and help get the damage on the inhibitor.
For the Baron,
But the inhib.
oh, how much
There, perfect. Finally got Mega Gnar stacked up again. Oh, nope, it's a little late. He's Mega
I
Gnar.
think they have enough time,
He needed
though,
to
start this
back
one
off a
before
little
Genji
bit,
are
but he had to
won.
get the inhibitor.
Available
So
for Kane.
He's got great wards for it, too.
Yeah, but they are nowhere near it. There is, they just don't feel like they can do this without Chovy. I think you can understand. 28 HP.
Dragon
so I
in
was
2 minutes
close.
and
I was over
28 seconds.
As once again, Canyon throws it at Pyocha.
BD was in range, but there's just not great follow-up. Both Corky and
Wow.
Lucian are pretty low range in this play from Pyocha. Man, Pyocha is actually maybe going to steal the field.
It's funny watching Pays and Lehens run away scared to death because they're going to get executed.
And that's the inhibitor turret gone. They don't get the inhibitor, but they are able to get the Baron off of the play regardless. And KT are living up to their peak form right now.
Okay, Supreme, the absolute perfect.
It's
KT
like when the
response is massive amounts of
Red
emotion,
Sox won the
and
World
then-
Series finally.
No. Hold it in. Nexus is
Yeah,
still
make
up.
a gif out of that one, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, it's so
You could actually just reverse it as well.
So Dragon, a minute and
Have it
40
cycle
seconds.
through, and then you can just post
Now's the
give
time
all
that
you need, exactly. Oh my god, it's so good.
KT need to be taking advantage of the Baron buff, pushing the waves out.
To threaten this bottom inhibitor turret. They just want to stay together as a group, as a phalanx here to protect this dragon, because if you start splitting into sides, that's how Gen G can potentially get a pick and then actually overwhelm you. If you just group up as 4 or 5 in the bottom lane, you have that Pyoshik ultimate, you can siege from so far away. It's almost guaranteed they should be able to get this inhibitor.
Yeah, Arrow is going to
So
through, but doesn't exactly find
Barrel absolutely whiffs the arrow for engage. That's okay because it comes up real quick again.
To make sure Keen has no angle of attack.
Well, Mom is going to come
I don't
down
know what
once again.
Smolder's
She's
ult
zoning.
does. I need to
We'll
look.
get them out of there, and with the Baron, KT might be able to land this one. The ulti not going to land though from Canyon.
So they're,
So that's
I
gonna
think,
mean
probably
that
waiting on
KT
Mega
gets two
Gnar to
inhibitors.
get stacked up
Back
here
this
to do
one.
some type of
Getting
engage.
closer and closer to victory, but still, at this point, it's close to 40 minutes into the game.
There are some flank wards now here. KT need to be careful.
Yeah.
Who's recalling?
Considered here by BDD.
Looked like
Wanting to
BDD
stick
was
around
recalling.
just in case. KT, I think, need to do everything as a unit, and they absolutely need their Smolder around as perfect. That was a little bit dangerous, that movement, but the Nature's Grasp does come on through. Great Mikhails, and it's Pyoshik that's taking a lot
So
of
another
damage.
whiff
Flash
from
out there from
Air
Lycan.
or from
He couldn't
Ash.
get it, but now it's the
This might be a
teleport
mistake.
flash
Is this Corky or
from
Oh, this is Kennen, I bet, coming in. Did it work?
Oh my
Nope,
God,
didn't work at all. I think you needed the Zonyas. I don't think the full build like Nagure used to get away with works anymore. That was against bad teams and at Worlds. But I want to get a screenshot of that.
Will once again ruin Gen G's perfect season.
No perfect season for you, and it just feels like even though no one would say it out loud, we all believe
Well,
it
so
is possible.
KT might not be as bad as they look, or maybe Gen G had an off day. I think that, like again, the KT players pretty much all have money. So, like Keen, for example, I don't think really has the money like he should have for all he's done. So all the players but Perfect have money, got paid. Pretty sure Piasek got paid some money coming over to Team Liquid. And they're kind of coasting. They don't have to work hard. I think they'll start working harder here when it's boot camp time. Here for Worlds, if they can get to the playoffs. But if they can beat Gen G, should be able to beat Fox or KDF, whoever they play. I think Damwon Key is very scary. So,
I'm looking at the crowd as well. A lot of the Gen G fans upset.
I think Lucid might be a problem for Piasek now that I think about it. I think Lucid's really good. And the only reason that Damwon's lost to like Gen G, T1, Hanwha, it sucks that we can't have 4 LCK teams go to Worlds this year because there's at least 4 or 5 that deserve to go to Worlds. Canwa. It wouldn't really hurt me at all if T1 didn't go to Worlds. Like, I would almost rather see T1 not make it to Worlds and get Hanwha there and Damwon and Gen G or KT.
Absolutely nothing. It's just cool, you know, that KT managed to do it. They're still going to go back to probably losing to DRX.
But that's it for today, guys, for the next level with Sodaron. So thank you for tuning in. The next match should be G2 versus Mad Lions. So for all of my LEC friends out there, I owe you some LEC content. And thank you for tuning in, and I'll leave you. I think I can't decide what banger song to have as my outro, Cornerstone or Flu. This is Flu. It's not Chill. The other song is Chill, why I did it, but I don't know. I really do like this song. So I'll catch you next time. See you next time.